Hello and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Pick a Side podcast. We have back-to-back episodes where we have a guest. The last episode was Nerd Sesh. This episode, it is the one and only OG. How are you doing? Is glad to have you back on the show.
Fellas, I ain't seen you in a minute, man. What's going on? I know we live in different places. Like I said, it's like seeing my nephews that I ain't seen in a long time at the barbecue. Like, what's up, fellas?
It's always a good thing. We're kind of busy, both of us. You're doing your thing
man.
over on Players' Choice. Shout out to the panel. We're over here. We're grinding, pick a side, but we always find time for each other, OG.
And I always find time for you guys. 100% I do. But I do want to address something real quick, Joe, before we even get started in this. I have to talk to my man. I have to talk to my man Riv, because I already know that the propaganda is gonna start. So this is what I'm gonna do, Riv. I'm going to entertain your Clipper logic. I'm going to entertain it because I see what's going on with Leonard and I see what he's doing. Even though I've seen this movie time and time again, I'm going to entertain your Clipper propaganda because I'm thinking to myself, if the Clippers ended up in the Western Conference Championship, right? Let's say it's May. Let's say it's May the 3rd and it's game one of the Western Conference Championship. I can tell you right now, Kawhi Leonard is coming into that series frying. He is on fire. Like, he's not coming into that series limping because they're not making the Western Conference Championship with Kawhi Leonard on one leg. That's not happening. So he's probably coming into that on fire. So, Riv, I'm going to entertain your propaganda with Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers. I know I've seen this movie and I know how it ends. But he's so damn good.
He is good, man.
He's so damn good that I have to entertain it. And I will for now. Now, that doesn't mean at any point, Riv, that I can't get up and walk out the movie theater. Just so we
That's not how it goes, OG.
Just so we clear. Because here's why, Drew, because I've seen this movie and I know how it ends. But I am going to go to the show with you. I am going to go.
I think that's fair.
might get a different ending. I might get a different ending here.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And I think, we collectively, like, me and the boys, we wasn't high on the Clippers coming into this year because we just thought, they grabbed a bunch of defensive guys. How was it going to look with just James Harden? You kind of lost PG. Kawhi is going to miss the time of, the beginning of the year. But defensively, they went into their identity. Like, defense, Zubac has stepped up offensively. Norman Powell has stepped up offensively. And they've just been a grind-out, defensive, physical, pesky team that primarily gets a lot of their wins off defense, and then James Harden uplifting a pretty dog shit offensive system. And then Kawhi's back, so like in Kawhi, he's like Kevin Durant in a sense of he gets hurt, he comes back, he's the same dude. Like, he doesn't seem to miss a beat. There's nothing wrong with the dude's game. He just needs a couple games getting under his belt, and then he's
perfect
back.
Actually,
it's just actually sad that you can never know, and that's why I understand you never know when he can break down. And then we lose him again, and we're like, God damn it, we missed another moment. But I think right now you're looking at this Clippers team, and you're looking at teams like Houston who are in front of them, Memphis who are in front. I think I asked Dells this when we were in the studio yesterday. I was like, is there a world where the Clippers could upset Houston or Memphis? And Dells was like, yeah. Like, there's a legit world where if you walk into that series, the Clippers have Kawhi, they're healthy. I don't see why they can't upset them. You trust Kawhi, you trust James Harden more than the young guys for the most part. So, OG, I like that you're entertaining the movie, man. I do like that you're entertaining the movie.
And if I'm being honest, Riv, if I'm rewinding the clock back to 2020 when the Lakers won the NBA championship, I was saying to myself, I want nothing to do with the Clippers. Nothing. I was watching the Clippers during the season and coming into the playoffs. I'm thinking to myself, if y'all can avoid those dudes, I think you got a shot against anybody else. I don't want nothing to do with them.
It left me delusional though, OG, when right before the league shut down, that back-to-back of Milwaukee, LA, LeBron going and playing defense on Kawhi, Paul George playing defense on Giannis. I was like, hey, maybe I'm not too scared of them, but every time we matched up, it was a dogfight. Now, let me ask you a question, OG. Did you watch the game versus the Spurs and you watched the way that Kawhi was moving with the ball in his hands and it got you feeling this way? Because I understand.
Did you watch Zubac versus Wemby?
I did watch that.
Oh, okay.
So over the course of like the last 4 games, and Riv, you and I had this conversation already. I never questioned Leonard's game ever. Have I ever questioned his game? He's when he's healthy, I think he's a top 5 player in the game. Only problem is that he hasn't been. But I tell you what, boy, for short stretches, if I could get 25, 30 minutes out of him and I could get some health, he's going to be impossible to deal with.
Before we get into the podcast, I feel like whenever we do these long podcast episodes, I usually am so surprised by the amount of energy that it takes for us to do these, the research, being in here for 3 hours, being here late at night. And I feel like MagicMind helps us do that with their performance shot. It's been great for all of us using it recently.
Yeah, sitting in this chair and having to listen to the three of you guys and keep my brain without having to explode. I need a little bit of MagicMind if I'm being transparent with you. Keep my thoughts fluent, keep my mind sharp. MagicMind keeps me covered.
Yeah, long day at work, right? We work 9 to 5, then we got to come here, and I got to listen to Riv yell at me over some usage, and he brings up like VORP and VPM and all these numbers I don't really care about. But MagicMind, I take it before the show starts. Just routine at this point.
Yeah, for somebody who struggles to go to sleep, going to sleep 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, this is something that definitely helps me out. I can get to sleep 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, just get a little bit early so I can wake up in the morning and deal with the nonsense that I have to deal with from the 8 to 3.
And in order to wake up that early, you also need the sleep shot as well. I mean, I feel like when we record this late, sometimes we need energy to record. So I'm taking something to keep me up, and I'm up late. But as of recently, I've been taking the sleep shot, and I've been sleeping like a baby at night, getting those 8 hours of sleep. And, if you don't get sleep, it's very hard to do anything and to function in any sort of way.
I texted you at like 11, 12 o'clock last night. I said, yo, let's play some Marvel Rivals. You didn't answer. You were knocked. Usually you're up till 2 in the morning, but he took some MagicMind. I couldn't get to play with my boy.
Yeah, Ray was pretty annoyed with that as well. But if you guys want to try out MagicMind for yourselves, you can. Go to magicmind.com/PASJAN. It's short for Pick a Side January, pretty much. And you can get 45% off your order if you want to try MagicMind. And they also have a money back guarantee. If this product does not work for you, you have up to 100 days to get your money back.
Love that.
Even though they got James Harden, who y'all know how I feel about him come playoff time, I'm on the train. I'm hanging with you, Riv. I'm in the car.
How many
I'm going. Let's go.
teams do you think the Clippers beat in a series with Kawhi Leonard being healthy?
You asking me?
I'm asking OG.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And Drew's gonna love this. Drew, if the Lakers could avoid Denver, I like them against everybody in the Western Conference.
I agree.
There's not one team in the Western Conference where I'm like, nope.
I agree.
Lakers?
I like them.
A healthy
I like
Dallas
them.
team?
So here's the thing, Joe. This is what I want you to remember. What I saw when they played against Denver, and we have to accept the fact that sometimes, just sometimes, it's not all the time, but sometimes somebody's just better. And Joker was just better. No matter what you guys did, Joker was just better. Anthony Davis, we set aside the 40 and 20s, the 29 and 16. Joker was just better. That's it. He was just better. However, Joe, if I put you in a series and I told you that you have 2 of the 3 best players in the series, how you like your chances?
I would ask you who are the supporting guys after that.
Even if the
Lakers don't have that.
Hey, Vando back, DFS, the demons on the perimeter. We kind of got some cooking.
Even if you did, Joe, even if you had, let's say C plus B minus guys, but in every series you had 2 of the 3 best players in the series, how you like your chances?
I think you would like your chances, but how confident are we that LeBron is still in that conversation? I don't think
playoff time LeBron comes back around.
Conversation. I don't think so.
Be
I
careful.
really don't think
It's
so.
LeBron.
No comment.
Who cares if it's LeBron?
It's
not
Let's
questioning
be
that.
honest. He plays no defense. He's a one-sided player.
That's why we're going now. Thank God we got Vando back, DFS together. It's a beautiful, ugly tandem. I got to be honest with you. The fact that Vando provides still no offense, but DFS can still stretch. You know how dangerous Vando can be on the defensive side, and so is DFS. I'm finding myself getting delusional again. Austin Reeves is taking a leap this year. I will say this. I've been reading reports saying that the Lakers are heavily favored or are favored to potentially land Miles Turner. I would love that. Give me a stretch big. I can go now. He can just be a roamer, shot blocking guy. Anthony Davis now can be that a little bit more of a defensive presence, not too much responsibility, just as a rim protector, having to do everything, kind of take that away from him a little bit. That intrigues me. We get a little bit more spacing, a little bit more offense. I'm getting delusional, boys. I'm not going to lie to you. I like where we're headed.
It's 3 teams to me, OG. It's 3 teams to me. OKC,
Dallas, and Denver. If they have to go up against any of those 3 teams, I don't think they have a shot. But you're telling me against Memphis, against Houston, some teams that are younger, some teams that could struggle offensively in the half court, I think the Lakers could beat those teams. But those 3, that's why I feel like it's hard.
Why
to
can't we
get
beat
past
Dallas?
the second round.
I was just about to ask the question, and the reason why I'm asking you this.
Just went to the finals last year. That was the hottest team in basketball for the second half of the season, post trade deadline, post All-Star break. Luka's healthy. No one,
Kyrie
I don't
and
think
Clay
you can beat them.
and PJ Washington, OG, with Daniel Gafford,
PJ's
So-
been
Holy
hooping
mid.
Najee Marshall.
Holy mid.
So,
Oh.
okay, Drew, number one, you aren't delusional. Here's why you're not delusional. This is why I need you to understand. This is why you're not delusional.
That's why I
Number
always love
one,
when you're on the show, OG.
teams duck smoke all the time.
Talk.
Let's be clear about that.
Talk.
Teams duck smoke. Last year is a prime example. You just brought up Dallas in the NBA Finals. Do you think that Dallas was not home when Minnesota showed Denver the door like, whew, we ain't got to see them do it?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Sure.
They didn't want nothing to do with Denver. No, they didn't. They're having to deal with that problem. So that's a problem that gets eliminated. Now, if you look at what's going on in the standings right now, Drew, your boys are at the number 5 spot. Denver's at the number 4 spot. What if we lost a couple games come playoff time and we dropped to the 6th spot?
Get me away from him. I'm begging.
How you like y'all against Memphis in round 1?
I love
think Anthony Davis can win that series himself because he owns Jaren Jackson.
He does.
I don't think that he plays well against Jaren Jackson.
But I'm gonna say this: Jaren seems different this season.
Even if he does seem different. Last time I checked, Riv, I know you. I don't care if you put on some muscle. I don't care if you got a little bit of hair on your chest. I know this dude.
Now, OG,
I know who he is. I don't care who you running with. I know him.
I need to keep you consistent because whenever you talk about the Clippers, you say your favorite slogan is "I've seen this movie before."
I've seen it
Haven't
before.
we seen this movie with the Lakers?
We
Why
won
do
a
we
championship.
hype
What are you
them
talking
up?
about?
I'm not hyping them. This is the thing, Joe. I'm not hyping them. This is the thing. I'm not hyping them. Okay. I'm not one of these.
It's okay to do it. We
Clippers
went
or
to the
Lakers?
Lakers
I'm not one of
years
these
ago.
people.
We're good.
Healthy Kawhi Leonard, Clippers or Lakers? Who do you got in that series?
I got the Lakers because of James Harden.
I respect that.
I got the Lakers too.
Because
I got
James
Kawhi, man.
No,
Fuck it, y'all
I
talking
think
about.
that's a close series. I don't think you go
LeBron versus
the
Kawhi.
Lakers are
Come
more
on.
reliable.
What?
I do think
We're
that
good.
they're like Dale said, there's some imposters at the top of the West. I think the Rockets are a very young team. The Grizzlies, I don't never trust them. They're led by John Morant. Do you think I trust that, OG?
They're led by
don't.
Jaren
You
Jackson.
don't.
I don't
you
trust
don't.
that. No, but their best player
You
should
know
be
what?
John Morant. I don't trust that.
So
I
you
trust
brought that up, Joe. I'm glad
Anthony
you brought that up,
Edwards more.
Joe. I'm glad you brought that up, Joe. So you
I'm
drop.
not gonna
So
say a word.
if you drop to the if you the Lakers and you drop to the 6th seed, right? You the Lakers and you drop to the 6th seed, and you see Memphis in round 1.
Oh, they got to face John Morant. That's easy money.
I like them against Memphis.
Come
So
on.
then the next round, let's say you got to see Houston. How you like Houston? How you like your chances against Houston in the semis?
I think they could beat Houston too.
That's a
I-
good
100
series, though, OG. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Oh, I don't think they walk by anybody. Let's be clear
Yeah.
about one thing, Drew. They ain't walking by nobody. But how you like your chances against Houston?
I
I
like
want to make sure I'm
experience.
clarifying this too, Drew.
Mhm.
Before you answer that, I am not saying that the Lakers are winning the NBA championship. I'm not saying that they're going to the finals. I
I'm
like
OG.
their chances. This is all I'm asking. How do you like your chances against the Houston Rockets in the semifinals?
I like it.
So
like it.
then now you got teams like Minnesota, you got Oklahoma City having to deal with Denver. And you can and this is the same Minnesota team. I don't know, Riv. You saw them smoke Denver a couple of nights ago.
I saw the Warriors beat.
They've
the
been playing a
OKC
lot
last
better
night.
Did you just see that lineup they put out there last night with Jalen Clark?
I saw I
You're
saw
not ready for
Warriors
that
beat
defensive
OKC
lineup,
last
Riv.
night. I don't.
You're not ready for that.
You know what I'm saying?
All I'm saying, Drew, is I don't think that the Lakers are winning the NBA championship. I'm not going that far, but
So you're saying we could go?
I like your chance. If you can avoid Denver, I like your chances.
So let me
I
ask
do.
you a question. If we play any other team in the finals, not named the Celtics, are we winning a championship? Yes or no?
I'll take it a step further than that. I don't think that there's a team that's beating the Celtics 4 times in a week, but I can also say I wouldn't be surprised if they got bounced in round 2. That would not surprise me.
We should talk about it, OG. I think we should talk about it.
Yes, that would not surprise me if they got bounced. Not lost, Rib, if they got bounced in round 2.
I just want to add a little monkey to your, I just want to add a little
wrench.
just something.
Throw a wrench.
Throw a wrench in this story. Thank you very much, fellas. If you do end up the 6th seed, right? It goes 1-8, 4-5, 3-6, 2-7. You know Dallas can end up a 7th seed and play Houston. Then you have to see Dallas in round 2. you're hoping you play Houston or Memphis. Like you're begging for it because there is a world where even Denver can climb up. They can get a 2 seed. They can get a 3 seed.
We're doing everything we can to avoid this.
There's a lot of guessing and hoping.
I'm doing
here.
everything that we can
don't want
to
anything
avoid
to do with it. Keep them away from me.
Saying, there's a lot of hoping and
Mm-hmm.
praying that the seeding works in your favor.
No, the only hoping and praying I'm doing is that we do not match up round 1 against the Nuggets. That's it.
Keep
That's
them
all
away
I'm
from you.
asking for.
That's it.
You probably
Rib, teams duck smoke all the time.
I'm with you.
All
It's
the
just
time.
it's a lot of ducking you have to do. That's all.
And
We didn't duck it last year.
I'm not.
Year.
I have no problem ducking smoke here in this particular situation. I'm not.
Just
Just like I don't want nothing else to do with Patrick
lost last
Mahomes,
year.
I'm good. Just like I don't want nothing else to do with Patrick Mahomes as a 49er, I'm good on Joker. If we can stay away from that dude, then we got a shot.
We didn't
gotta
duck
be
smoke last year, and
heartbreaking.
it was a mistake.
I mean, OG, 2 times the 49ers lost to the Chiefs. It's got to be heartbreaking
In
at
the
this point.
overtime, we had them dudes in the chokehold. We had them. And the
Now, let me
losing
know.
overtime.
This is going to be a basketball episode, but I just want your take on Brock Purdy. Do you think the 49ers should pay him?
Yes, because we still have a lot of viable options offensively, and I think we got lucky with McCaffrey last season. Not this season, I think last season. I think we got lucky with him. What you saw this season with him, I think this is who he really is. I think he's a 7 to 10 game guy who breaks down a lot. I think we got lucky with him in the year we went to the bowl game where he led the league in rushing. I think we put a great offensive line in front of him, and we maximized everything that we had, and he was able to stay healthy. If we're moving off of Brock Purdy, I don't think that there's anybody in the draft that's going to help us right now. So we've built this thing with Brock Purdy, and I don't think we need Patrick Mahomes. I don't think we need Josh Allen. I just think that we need somebody that's steady and that our defense can hold up. That's it. And get lucky.
No, that's respectable. Now, Delza, you want to mention the Celtics?
Yeah, OG,
What
I
about
want
the
to get your
Celtics?
take on them because for the last month and a half, they've been like a barely above 500 team, like a few games over 500. When I go on Twitter, when I go on the internet, even when I look at the comment section, we talk about the Boston Celtics, a lot of people are saying they're fatigued. It's a championship hangover. And on one hand, that might be true. On the other hand, if you want to repeat as champions, you can't really have a championship hangover. You can't just kind of go into the next season and be like, we're going to win 50 games and be the 3 seed. And we're just all of a sudden going to flip a switch because there's a reason we haven't seen a repeat champion since the KD Warriors because it's very difficult to do so. You have to be great in the regular season to win a championship. That's why sometimes I struggle with the Lakers because they could be very inconsistent in the regular season. And I feel like once the postseason comes along, I get it's LeBron and AD, but I think you need to build those habits in the regular season. So what I've seen from Boston this season, they've been super inconsistent, I think, on both sides of the ball. Offensively, almost everybody outside of like Peyton Pritchard and Porzingis, who's playing maybe his best basketball of his life right now, have gone down pretty considerably in terms of jump shooting, in terms of three-point shooting. Jaylen Brown, Derek White, Drew Holiday specifically was the best three-point corner shooter in the league last year, and now he's sub 40%. What's your take on the Celtics? Is this a championship hangover? You said they get bounced in the second round. So I would love to hear what teams you think they can lose to and just overall, what's going on with them? What's wrong with them?
Well, I want to start the conversation with the Celtics with you need some incredible luck in order to win the NBA championship. Like being good ain't good enough. I don't care how good you are. You need some things to go your way. I watched the Chicago Bulls in the 90s, just so you know, they had the 3rd seed. The year that they beat Phoenix, they were the 3 seed going into the playoffs that year. They were not at the top of the league. They were the 3 seed. The Warriors in 22, they were the 3rd seed going into the playoffs. So you don't have to dominate the regular season in order to turn it on come playoff time. And I think that those teams, I think that the Warriors, I think that the Lakers, to Drew's point, I think those teams are built for the postseason. The thing I'm concerned with the Celtics is they seem to have this idea that they can just turn it on come playoff time. When you're a long ball shooting team, there's a rhythm that you have to have. I mean, Jaylen Brown is shooting 33% in the mid-range. Not only is he shooting 33% in the mid-range, I think he's, if I'm not mistaken, right around where he was in terms of turning the basketball over. And Coach Mazzulla's got the ball in his hands way more than I like. Way more than I like. And the less he has the ball in his hands, doing less, I think that's when he's the most efficient. Jason Tatum, for all intents purposes, and all you guys know how I feel about Jason Tatum, but he's been a roller coaster all season long. 1 minute he looks like he's a top 5 player, and the next minute he looks like he's barely good enough. So I think that the rotations that Coach Mazzulla has, I think that the personnel he has is enough. It's just a matter of them being consistent enough to put it together. But when you have a team that's a long ball jump shooting team, remember, they shooting 10 more threes this year than they did last year. I think they're averaging 51 threes a game. That's up from 40 last year. So if you're doing that, that's more than half their shots, by the way. If you're doing that, you're heavily relying on the long ball cracking, which it has, by the way, for all intents and purposes. But this isn't something that, Drew, you should be worried about. And the reason why I say that is because, I mean, the Celtics got the 4th best record in the league. They were in the top 5 in the league in offense and defense just a week ago. So I'm sorry that they ain't wiping the floor with everybody. No, they're not. I mean, yeah, they're game ahead of the Knicks in the standings. But if I look at the way the landscape of the standings, I mean, they could get beat by Milwaukee. I don't think they can get beat by the Knicks because the Knicks would have to outshoot them, and I don't think the Knicks can do that. No.
Even though the Knicks, you could argue, have the best offense in basketball this season.
Yes, 100%. But I think that in 4 times in a week, I don't think the Knicks could outshoot the Boston Celtics.
Now, OG, the way you just described Jason Tatum, isn't that what he was last year, especially in the playoffs?
No, last year he was a lot better, and especially in the playoffs. He was more consistent. Now, don't get me wrong. He did a lot of the other stuff better. And this season, I feel like the stuff that he's good at, it's almost like he's just, I find him standing around a lot more. I find him getting blitzed a lot more and getting off the basketball and not getting the ball back. Defensively, I think he's been great. I won't argue that. Defensively, I think he's been great, and I think he's been really good on the glass, which he was last year. His shot is inconsistent because of his shot diet being inconsistent. Like, he doesn't have anything that he goes to specifically. That's where I think the separator is between him and SGA. SGA, if you let him sit in that mid-range, he'll shoot that all night long. He's not one of those guys that's just going to put his head down and go to the basket all the time. Even though he's one of the better drivers in the game, if I can play in this mid-range all night if you want to do that. But then when guys crowd him, then he'll go to the rim. Jason Tatum, I feel like he's been going to the rim to get fouled instead of going to the rim to score. I feel like he doesn't go to his mid-range and his mid-post game nearly as much as he can. I think he settles for a lot of bad shots. That's how he bails out defenses. So I feel like if he can get back to being a consistent scorer, I think they'll be fine.
I'm with you. I think Tatum's kind of been the opposite this year of what he has in years past, where he typically starts out the season really slow. And then when January comes around, like last year, remember we were talking about it, he was like a 40% pull-up three-point shooter from January 1st on, and the second half of the year, he was super hot. This year, it's been the opposite, right? Remember night 1, opening day, the Celtics go and beat the Knicks by 1,000,000, and Jason Tatum
was player of the month. He was player of the month.
And he was fantastic. And the month of January has been awful. I could double-check his stats, but he's been, I believe, a sub 30% three-point shooter in January. Yeah. Mm-hmm. The shot has really fallen off this month. I don't really know what it is. And they concern me, and Celtics fans on Twitter tell me we'll be fine. We'll be fine. It's the playoffs. Once the playoffs come along, I should say, things are gonna get flipped. But it's hard to win a championship. And if you're gonna have a month stretch, a 2-month stretch, we're talking about 20+%, 30% of the season right now of Boston being just good, not great, not dominant, just good. And listen, if they're champions, they could get the grace from me to be like, all right, I'll give you some time. But I need a stretch here of at least 10 games where they're going 8-2. They're 9-1. They're beating the Bulls like they did last night by 20+ points when Zach LaVine is out. Because they've had games this season. I've seen them in dogfights against the Pelicans, lose to the Raptors, against teams that are way below their expectation. And what pisses me off is Joe Mazzulla goes to the press conference after, and he's like, what do you expect to be easy? It's like, this is a league with professionals. I'm like, I understand that, Joe, but you're the Boston Celtics. You won 60+ games last year. You have the most talented roster, arguably, in the NBA. I'm expecting you to beat the Toronto Raptors. I'm expecting you to dominate the Pelicans. Sure. So I feel like the mindset sometimes is a little off for me, where Mazzulla had this quote one time where he said, you need to respect your opponents, but don't respect your opponents too much, where you are good enough to go out there and dominate those guys. But just because they're professionals doesn't mean that you have to give them this utmost respect like they're fucking God. And I feel like they're doing some of that this year.
Dels, question. You could correct me if I'm wrong. If I'm not mistaken, I feel like over the last 3 or 4 years, have you guys not been an inconsistent team in the regular season though?
Last year, no. Years prior, like 2023, Missoula's first year, of course, the Ime year.
Okay. So because I feel like you guys have shown that inconsistencies throughout the regular season, and you still manage to, make an ECF or, make a finals.
It's just a long stretch for us. It's going on 2 months.
That's fair.
And I know we got to move on, Joe, but really quickly. So I did some research on this, and what it's called is called the dog days of the season. It's from the end of December to the All-Star break, right? Though between that time, the best teams during that time are the teams that you're going to see come late May and June. And I had done some research, and the 2020 and the 22 Celtics, when they were in the finals that year, they were 7 games over 500 during this stretch, and they had a win streak, to Dell's point, where they had won 9 out of 10 games. And I went back 10 years to see what had happened between this time with other championship teams. I looked at the Golden State Warriors when they had won. I mean, not the Golden State Warriors. Sorry, Denver. Denver had won 9 straight. They were 13 games over 500 during this stretch. When they won the NBA championship in 23, the Celtics, like I said, in 22, they had won 8 of 11. The Lakers were not the Lakers. I'm sorry. The Cavs were the only team. The Cavs were the only team I think that were below 500, and they were 1 game under 500. Everybody else was at least 5 games that was in the Eastern Conference or Western Conference Championship or the finals. They were at least 5 games over 500 and had win streaks of 8+ during this time. So I feel like the best teams from the end of December up until the All-Star break, which are the dog days of the season, these are the teams that you're going to see at the end of the season.
Can I ask a question real quick? I understand that one of the best series that the Celtics had was against the Indiana Pacers. Now, the Indiana Pacers in the month of January have been one of the best teams in basketball. 10-2 record. All 10 of their wins have been above double digits. Now, some pretty decent competition as well. You have the Cavaliers, excuse me. Yep. You have Phoenix. You have Miami. You got some bottom feeders in Brooklyn and Chicago. But regardless, you go and you beat Detroit. Detroit's been playing some great basketball. I honestly don't want to sleep on the Pacers. I know coming into the season, I was pretty low on them, considering and thinking that this would be a bit of a regression year for them. Thought that they overachieved last year, but the offense still has been solid. I think the defense has been improved drastically. You see the way that Pascal Siakam has been playing basketball, but really when it gets to their second unit, I think that's when they start to take control of basketball games. I even look at this game versus the Pistons, just TJ McConnell, just the fact that they have another creator off the bench too, it just makes them so dangerous with how deep they are as a roster. Is that another team that could potentially
they're a first round exit?
Upset them,
they're a first round exit.
Relax, Riv. Relax.
They're a first round exit. Not even.
Riv, just so you know, they're half a game out the 4th spot, Riv. They're a half a game out the 4th spot.
I'm assuming if they play Knicks, Bucks, Boston, Cavs, they're a first round exit.
What about Milwaukee has suggested over the last 2 years that Milwaukee can? Did we not see Milwaukee as a number 1 seed?
You just said they could beat Boston.
But that's why Milwaukee? I'm asking you: Can they beat the Celtics?
And in addition to Milwaukee beating Boston, they can also get bounced in round 1. 100%.
That is the other part of the Celtics.
They can also get bounced around the league.
1. And there's no team, even though the Cavs are great and OKC is great, every team has chinks in their armor where you could point at and say this could be an issue in the playoffs, which I understand.
And Tyrese Halliburton is playing amazing basketball. You know, he had 30 just last night. So don't sleep on that, Riff. I know you don't want to sleep on that. Don't sleep on that. I'm just saying. I'm not. This is not me being a fan of him. I'm just telling you not to sleep on that.
If you get the Dame that's playing like this right now, and Giannis is healthy, I will take the Bucks comfortably over Indiana in a 7-game series. That's just my opinion. I think the Knicks offensively, they have too much. I think they'll beat them. I think the Cavs on both ways, they'll beat them. I even think Orlando's a team, when they get healthy, that's a sneaky team that could beat Indy. I think that's more of a challenge though. That's like a 6-7 game series. But I don't want to make it sound like it's rude, but I just think those top 4 teams are really good.
Because if Hallie's on, which is a big question mark, which I'm not gonna say it's not. If Hallie's on, now you have your half court offense set. But the thing with Indiana that we know is that they get out and they run. They know that they're gonna play with some pace. That's the only reason where they are a dangerous playoff team, because they can do both at a very efficient level. And although this defense still isn't amazing, it's not bottom 10, but obviously it's not great. It's still number 19. I think that with the starting five that they do have, it is a solid defensive lineup. And you look at I can't talk about him enough. Pascal Siakam and his impact this season has been unbelievable for the Indiana Pacers. And really what he's brought for the defensive side for them, especially with that starting five, they're going to be a tough out. I think a comfortable first-round exit is rude, but they are a team that I'm definitely monitoring, and they're a team that I find myself buying into more and more.
Who can they beat? If it's not comfortable, tell me who can they beat.
I think they can beat Milwaukee.
It'll be a great series, whoever they play. They could beat Milwaukee. Celtics would be a great series. I think Boston would win. The Knicks, it would be a dogfight. Honestly, it really would be. That's the one that I find myself like of the upper echelon teams.
With the Knicks healthy?
If healthy?
If the Knicks are healthy, they're beating the Pacers pretty easily.
Which ain't happening because Tibbs running them boys in the ground. By the time we get to the playoffs, we will see the wear and tear on those tires.
If it's in the first round, OG, in the second round, maybe
second round, I'm saying 45 minutes.
In the first round, no. Come on.
Did you see the top 7 3-man lineups are all Knicks?
I mean,
that's
some variation of OG, Jalen, Josh, Cat, and I'm blanking on there. It is, regardless.
I mean, I think the Pacers are like a sneaky team. They're finding their groove. I think they need to do this for a little bit longer for them to be respectable in the conversation. I do think that there's a clear tier gap between the top and them. I think the favorite is Boston. Then you have the Knicks and the Cavs, and then the Bucks are like that. Anything can happen, and then the Pacers fall in line with like where the Magic are and stuff.
I think the Pacers are better than the Magic.
I don't know, to be honest.
I don't know what I'm getting from the Magic night in, night out this year.
Well, they haven't been fully
healthy.
Exactly.
Give me
with Paolo back
of everyone there.
That's a styles clash. That's a top-notch defense.
That dude, you and Dale just told me that the Milwaukee Bucks, what they are if they're not healthy. Meanwhile, Dallas hasn't. I mean, Luka been in and out the lineup all season, but meanwhile, the Dallas Mavericks can end up.
I'm not saying the Magic going to the finals. You know what I mean? Like the Mavs have finals aspirations. The Magic, if they win a playoff series, it's up.
It's because they have Luka.
That too.
Doncic. That's why I know you don't like to hear it. But it's Luka.
I just don't like that calf injury. It's two injuries
I don't either.
That bother me, that I don't play around with. It's the heart and it's the calf injury, because I know what that stuff can lead to.
Pretty drastic. They're two worlds apart, OG.
No, I don't like them.
The calf injury scares you that much?
Yes, because the calf injury turns into
the heart.
100%. You know why? Because that calf injury, I've seen it turn into an Achilles tear. That's why I've seen it turn into a ruptured Achilles, which turns into your season being over. And I don't like to play around with that. No. And same logic with the heart. No. Because the last thing I want is to see you pass out on television and die. No.
Let's get into an injury debate. You could argue knees. Just look at Kawhi Leonard. We don't see him on the court night-to-night basis because that knee can be it blew up. It's swollen. I can't really walk on it that well. I really can't give it a go. Calf, I get where you're coming from because it can progressively get worse, but a knee is something that it actually stays with you for the rest of your life.
Well, first of all, Kawhi doesn't have an injury. He's got a condition. So
correct. That's exactly what I mean.
So the fact that he's got a condition, that's not going to get better. This calf with some rest can get better.
Fair.
And it's not something that I have to worry about in the future, like next season.
Yeah.
Because Kawhi Leonard, this is something that's been going on. Not only has it been going on for years, it's gotten progressively worse.
Almost a decade.
It's gotten progressively worse as time is going on.
Yeah.
So because that's happened, we got to manage this dude and manage him to the point where, we got to hold him out of games. We got to put him in games, then hold him out for half the season. I mean, you don't have to do that with a calf injury. You just got to rest the guy. Like, hang out, let this thing heal up, and you'll be back in effect. You saw what happened when you rushed KD back. You lost the whole next season. That's why I don't play with calf injuries.
We had a big time news report come out a couple of days ago. Shams reported that the Kings are going to look into trading De'Aaron Fox. Now, there's multiple ways to attack this. One of them is talking about the Kings, what their future is going to be if they deal De'Aaron Fox. Really coming off the heels of that 2022 magical season where they made the playoffs and ended their playoff drought. Now they find themselves kind of stuck in the same spot that they were before. And then the other part of it is where De'Aaron Fox should go. Now, all signs are pointing to the Spurs being the number one destination, but we're going to go round table here and just answer those questions about where the Kings go from here and also your favorite De'Aaron Fox landing spot. I'll start with you, Drew.
All right. So obviously Spurs were on my list. I know you guys are going to talk about Houston, so I'll throw in another team. It's got to be the Orlando Magic. Now it gets nasty, the trade package that the Orlando Magic would give to get De'Aaron Fox. I'm being transparent.
I don't like what it's
Anthony Black.
No, you should not feel good about it, truthfully. It's not good. Now, the automatic gets the money done. Jonathan Isaac, step back three, Cole Anthony. This is where a ton of draft capital would have to be brought into it. Now, it's weird. I don't know what it is about the exceptions or what goes on with these contracts. For whatever reason, you cannot add Jalen Suggs to another player to get this deal done. For whatever reason, it does not get completed. To get it done simply, it's Jonathan Isaac and it is Cole Anthony. Not great, not good at all. I think these other two teams that we're going to speak about in Houston and the Spurs have a much better chance to acquire him, given what they can get back, especially San Antonio with the endless amount of draft capital that they do have. But I look at what the Kings are doing, and this shocked me, truthfully, especially when they started to roll after they had fired Mike Brown and moved on to Christie. They were playing some great basketball in the month of January. I thought actually they started to find their groove offensively. But I understand, because all the conversations that we've had on the Kings, what does the foundation of Domantas Sabonis, De'Aaron Fox, Keegan Murray, Malik Monk, how far does that get you when you have teams like OKC who are near flawless on the defensive end, and they have a guy like SGA that can single-handedly take over the offensive side? Oh, we also have J-Dub. Oh, and we also have Chet, who hasn't played a majority of the season. Denver Nuggets. As great as Sabonis is, he will never be Nikola Jokic, and he cannot change an entire offense the way that Nikola Jokic can impact a basketball game. You look at how young Houston is. You look at how young Memphis is. It's the talent that is so limiting for the Kings to be successful with these guys that I can understand moving on from De'Aaron Fox. It's hard to gauge where they go from here. If they do decide to move Fox, I think it's in their best interest to move everyone. Get rid of Sabonis as well. You will get a lot of draft compensation for him. You will go and you can just start this thing over. Rebuild from the ground up. I know it's been in the mud for the Kings fans for damn near 2 decades. It was a nice run in 2022. But regardless, understand that you need a new foundation. You need a new core, because it seems as if this one's not going to get it done. It'll be interesting to see where Fox goes. I'm hoping it's the Spurs. I want to see Wemby with De'Aaron Fox, but I really wouldn't be mad at Houston, San Antonio, or Orlando.
Real quick, the All-Stars got announced. No LaMelo Ball, no Trae Young.
We'll go over that after, but go over it.
Yeah, I think I'm one of the few people that
OG's
about to crash out. I think I'm one of the few people that think Fox to Houston doesn't make sense. I say that because I just don't think he fits within their timeline. I mean, if you trade for Fox, I'm sure they're gonna ask for a player like Amon. They're gonna ask for a player like, Tari Eason or something like that. I don't think, in my opinion, you give up one of those players for a Fox level player. And that's not to say Fox is not a great player. I think he is. I think Houston is in the big player market. And I say big player, I mean a guy that could potentially get moved like Devin Booker, like Kevin Durant, like Giannis. Those are guys that we can see maybe get moved in a year or two. I think they're in that type of, market. I don't think, I think a player like Fox, I think the Spurs is a fine destination. It really just depends on the package. I don't think you should give up too much for Fox. I also think a team like Miami makes the most sense if they would actually be able to do it, because you send them over there in the East. You still have Bam. You still have Tyler Hero probably. That's a good team that keeps Miami floating around and doing what they like to do, which is retool, stay competitive. But I just think Houston, right now, you have a guy who's oozing with potential in Amon. You kind of want to fit somebody around him. You kind of want to fit somebody around Sengun and stuff like that. And I think, and Jalen Green will probably be in the deal for Fox. But I think right now, I don't think Fox makes sense for Houston. I think they can wait on something bigger. As for the Kings, I mean, listen, the goal was to end the playoff drought. The goal was to remain competitive. I can't knock the Kings for trying to make moves. You know, they definitely tried.
Jaylen Brown is an all-star. I'm gonna lose my mind.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Rev, if I interrupted you. I can't.
It's okay. We'll get into this in a little bit.
bad.
Holy
It's
shit,
bad.
Nuts. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Rib. I apologize.
You're good. You're good. I didn't think he would make the All-Star game. That's
Keep going,
actually
Riff. Keep going, Riff.
Yeah, I think the Kings' direction is simple. You know, Fox wanted to win. You fired your head coach. You went like 11-4, 11-3, or 12 and something like that. You won a ton of games, and Fox still wants to go, which means he understands that there's nothing more he can do in Sacramento. And I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. I think you're in a position where, you know, he's 27, 28 years old. He's hitting the prime of his career. You know, he wants to win. Like, that's very clear. He could have took the money from, you know, Sacramento when they offered him an extension. No, he legitimately wants to win. And I think he sees that he can't win in Sacramento. As for Sacramento, you kind of have to start to figure out, can we survive another rebuild? You know, can we survive another moment where we try to build talent? You know, Keegan Murray was not a bad pick. He fit with your team wanting right now. Has he made the proper growth in the same guys in his class that are lottery picks? I don't know. You know, Domantas Sabonis, he's a very specific player. Can you fit him on multiple teams? Can you trade him and get a ton back? You know, DeMar DeRozan, you just signed him last offseason. You're probably not going to get a ton for him because also an older player who's very similar in Sabonis in the sense of it is hard to, you know, build around his skill set. It's hard to just send him somewhere and the team can benefit from that. You know, I think Malik Monk, you can get some good stuff from him. He signed. He also took less money to stay in Sacramento last year. So this is all things that's kind of like happened where you thought Fox would stay. You know, you had the Monk extension for less. You know, so it's like things like this. It's very weird, and it shows that the Kings have just been a dysfunctional organization for the past 15 to 20 years. I don't trust them to go into a rebuild and, you know, be able to build a good team around good talent. But you're sitting in a draft where you have three guys that maybe you can build around. You got next year. So if you're gonna, you know, if you're gonna blow it up, it's good that they're thinking about it to do it now. While Fox is sitting at 27 years old, he's playing at the best ball he's played all season. So with the Kings, I really don't know.
This sucks. I mean, this sucks for the Kings. And if you're a Kings fan, you should be disappointed in the franchise's direction. De'Aaron Fox doesn't want to stay in Sacramento because he doesn't believe that they're going to be a long-term winner. And he has every right to feel that way. He's been in the league for 8 years. They've only made the playoffs one time. They had the longest playoff drought for a long time there. I think the similarity in this kind of falls with the Knicks in a degree to where Julius Randle, when he made the playoffs with the Knicks, it was an 8-year playoff drought that he had ended. And at that point, the Knicks weren't a championship team, but it was nice just to watch a good basketball product on the floor. And the Kings, although they're not going to be contending for a championship, they have a good basketball product. And since firing Mike Brown, they have been winning games. I think this is a failure on the ownership, but I think it's also a failure in drafting. If you aren't going to get top end picks every single draft, you have to make sure that your picks are swinging for the fences in one of those talented young prospects. You look at 2021, they drafted Davion Mitchell, an older prospect who's smaller, who had a very low ceiling. And now he hasn't even cracked in rotation. He's already on another team. But names they passed up, Corey Kispert, who'd fit much better on this team as a shooter, Alperen Şengün, Trey Murphy, Jalen Johnson, Isaiah Jackson. There's so many players they passed up on. And then in this past draft, they drafted Devin Carter, another guard who was in college for a while, and they drafted him over Khalil Ware, Jared McCain, Yves Misi. There were players that could have fit holes on this team much better than the guards that they drafted. And just a couple years ago when they traded Tyrese Halliburton, they traded him because they picked between Fox and Halliburton, and now they're about to end up with neither of them. I just think it makes no sense. And if you're a Kings fan, like, yes, maybe this team,
though, Joe. I mean,
yes.
I don't know if that's fair, Joe. Because
about what?
Well, the part that you mentioned, I mean, because I think they did get it right with Fox, picking Fox over. It was a win-win for both teams.
I think they got it right
because they ended up getting Sabonis. They ended up getting Sabonis in the trade. So in the process of getting Sabonis in the trade, they end up that year. I think they had the best offense in the league. They were the third best. I think they got it right. But now De'Aaron Fox is on his way out. But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, though. Last season, that was a 50-win team. They got decimated by injury. They lose Monk. They lose Herter. They were on there, and I think that was the reason why Monk didn't win Sixth Man of the Year, because they lost him the last 6 weeks of the season. Because I think he would have been the Sixth Man of the Year had they been able to hold on to him. And on top of that, I think they won 46 games. That's a 50+ win team last year. So they're on their way to doing something. I don't think that this was because Sacramento made some bad moves. I think that they built this unit around De'Aaron Fox's skill set. In the process of them building this unit around his skill set, it was working.
I think
you need some luck to, especially a place like Sacramento. You need some things to go your way. You do.
I think the drafts they've had have been awful in just really honing in on guards. You have to think about it. You know, they had De'Aaron Fox on the team, then they drafted Tyrese, then they drafted Davion Mitchell, then they just drafted Devin Carter. This team desperately needs wings, and they need a big man who can protect the rim, and they have not addressed those issues. They went out and got DeMar DeRozan, who was an odd fit, but I think the Kings had something going here. And maybe, yes, this is not a team that's going to win the NBA championship, but you're not going to sell Sacramento fans on another rebuild. They just went through almost two decades of bad basketball. And now you're telling me as a fan, if I was a Kings fan, we're about to go back into this because De'Aaron Fox, there's been reports that he declined an extension, but I just don't think that in that extension he got the money that he wanted, because it was going to be $40 million per year. I think he's looking for $50 million per year. So I just don't think you can sell the Kings fans on another rebuild. But for De'Aaron Fox, I think this is great. I like the Miami Heat a lot as an option. Former teammate of Bam Adebayo. You have Tyler Herro and Khalil Ware, but what do they have to give up in a deal like that? I have no idea. Yeah. I think the easiest pathway to a deal is with the Spurs, and I think De'Aaron Fox and Wemby, as early as this year, can be a legit playoff threat. If they finished as a 7 seed with De'Aaron Fox and Wemby, do I think that team is capable of beating Houston in a series? I think there's a realistic chance they can. I think if De'Aaron Fox is paired with Wemby, that would be not only great this year, but for years to come.
I think it'd be good. Sacramento's tough because I feel like when we talk about rebuilds in general or just teams in general, we always have championship in mind. And Joel, me and you know better than anything. If you told us for the next 5 seasons, the New York Jets would be competitive and they would make the playoffs 3 out of the next 5 years, but never win a championship, are you kidding me? I would sign up for that tomorrow. And I feel like that's what Sacramento fans are feeling right now. You mentioned it, 17 years not making the playoffs. You finally get your first sniff of it. And it wasn't like you just backdoored into an 8 seed. You were dominant in the regular season. You were the best offense in basketball. And went down to the wire with the Warriors, where you go 7 games.
Chokehold. They were up in the series, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, and Steph goes and has a Steph moment, drops 50 on you. And sometimes you just got to shrug your shoulders and say that's an all-time great. So it's difficult I agree with you, Joel. It's difficult to sell that to Kings fans. On the other hand, I do think De'Aaron Fox made it a bit easier to sit with, because if De'Aaron Fox kind of just rides it out, and we've seen it in the past, NBA teams don't really want to go into rebuilds, and more often than not, they hold on to their assets too long, where right now with De'Aaron Fox, you have a 1.5 years left on his contract. You're going to get more assets than if you trade him next season at the deadline, where he's going to be a free agent, assuming that maybe he's not 100% sold on his destination. You don't know if he's going to re-sign. So I feel like now you have, number one, at least more suitors for him, because if this was next year and he's like, I just want to be in San Antonio, if you're the Miami Heat, you know you're only getting him for the next 3 or 4 months of the season. Now, at least you know you have a 1.5 years. We could try to sell him on this Heat culture, not saying that he's going to end up there, but at least you have, a few different pathways where you're not just settling on one team to negotiate with. You could try to start some sort of bidding war between maybe 2 or 3 teams to recoup some of those assets. I think San Antonio and Miami would be my top 2 for him. I agree with you, Riv. The Houston fit, I don't hate it. I think it would work. But if I'm Houston, we're so damn good right now that I'm riding this out. And then next season, if I could go get a Devin Booker, if I could go get a Giannis, that's what really I'm waiting for, to get that big splash, top 10 locked player, because De'Aaron Fox makes you better, undoubtedly. He probably takes you from, a team that's a teetering on a first-round exit. If you played the Lakers in the first round, I feel pretty confident you can make to the second round. If the matchup gets right, maybe you can make the WCF. But I don't think that takes you to the next level where all of a sudden you become a championship-level team. So I would wait just a little bit there. But for De'Aaron Fox, I do think that it's probably best for both sides, right? I think the Kings, of course, you want to see them be competitive. You want to see them get into the play-in and at least compete in the playoffs if you're a fan. But realistically, with this core, with this team, it's unlikely you're getting anything more than a competitive first-round series. And while that's going to be fun for a couple of years, eventually you're going to look yourself in the mirror and say, are we just going to be a first-round exit, like year in and year out? At some point, you're going to have to make a move one way or the other. This time around, just coming a bit earlier than we expected.
Joe, you read the report. The report stated that the Sacramento Kings are doing what with De'Aaron Fox?
Shopping him.
Which means that I haven't bought anything. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Which means that I don't have to do anything.
Correct.
So I'm not doing anything. No.
But then OG, next season comes around. Now he only has 1 year left on his deal.
I'm glad you brought that up, Dale, because I still have next season. So with that being said, the blockbuster trades that we've seen in the past, when did they happen, guys?
Sometimes deadline off
in the offseason.
In the offseason, absolutely. So with that, and we knew that was happening. We knew that was happening anyway with Anthony Davis, right? And the New Orleans Pelicans, he wasn't hurt. They shelved him so they can preserve him, so they could get whatever it is that they.
Oh, gee, let me ask you though. Siakam last year got traded for 3 firsts on the last year of his deal.
Yes, he did, and he didn't even want to leave Toronto. He wanted to stay there. They didn't want to pay him.
And they still got 3 for him.
Right. The different, and that was a bad team. This isn't a bad Sacramento team.
I agree.
Which means that if I don't have to trade him, I'm not moving off of him yet. Mm-hmm. And to Joe's point, Joe, you bring up the Sacramento fan. Joe, they ain't going nowhere. Just be honest with them. They're not going anywhere. It's not like they're all gonna just go away. No, they ain't going nowhere. Just be honest with them. We built this unit around De'Aaron Fox. This is who we're moving forward with in the future. And we got to make better moves, and we will. But in the meantime, I think you can maximize De'Aaron Fox's value, holding on to him. This team goes to the playoffs. They make some noise. We up that trade value, whether it's on draft night, whether it's around free agency, or if I told you, Joe, last season, if I told you, Joe, I could get you Cat for Julius Randle, you'd have been like, ain't no way you're doing that. Look what happened in the offseason. That wouldn't have happened during the season. I'm confident that wouldn't have happened. So when we get into the offseason, whatever Sacramento does in the playoffs, and I think De'Aaron Fox is going to play really well. If that happens, I think you can maximize his value. Because I'm on record saying this, Dale, and I'm on record saying this, Drew. When your star says that he's not interested in re-upping, I'm out. But I'm not just going to be out right then and there. No, he actually gave you the grace to give you a year. It's not like he said, I'm out and we're at the trade deadline next season.
He's giving you time.
He's giving me time. He's giving me time to figure this out. This isn't we're going into training camp and I don't want to talk about contracts. I already know that he's not interested in signing an extension with us. I already know that.
Where do you think Fox should go? What is the ideal spot?
To Riv's point, Riv, I can tell you this right now. I'm the Houston Rockets. I'm not interested. I got what I'm looking for. I'm straight with my crew. Mm-hmm. I'm on record saying this. We don't need a point guard in free agency. We don't need one in the draft. And I don't know if you guys heard me say this, but I watched the Oklahoma City Thunder teach Russell Westbrook how to play the lead guard. I think you can do the same thing with this kid, Amin Thompson. I think you got your lead guard moving forward. I don't think that you need to touch that. You got 6 guys on this roster. I think it's 6 guys. Let's see, Jabari, Tari, Sengun.
It's like 7 or 8.
Green.
No, they're deep.
That's guys that you got in the draft that we got on rooks. It's 8 guys that we got in the draft that we got on rook deals, and we got a lot of guys with team friendly deals. So Fred VanVleet comes off the books after the season. Dylan Brooks, we got him on a cheap deal. I'm not interested in De'Aaron Fox with the crew that I currently have because I feel like we on to something. No, absolutely not. Miami, on the other hand, I don't hate it, depending on what I have to give up. If I can keep Bam and I can keep Hero, and I got the big kid Ware, which I'm not sure you're going to be able to keep all of those guys, but if I can keep the majority of them, and I'll come off Jaime Jaquez for De'Aaron Fox. 100%.
Yeah. Well, what's really the price for Fox? Like, it's a young player and a couple picks. Like,
if it's Hero and Fox swap, I'd do it pretty comfortably.
No,
Hero's been so good this year, man.
I'd do it.
Riv, why though? This is easily Tyler Hero's best year.
Yeah, but Hero's
going to be an all-pro.
No, Hero. Probably, I think he made the All-Star game. I seen that, but you have to give up something. And I'm saying if it's between Hero or Bam, we all know ball here.
What about Jaime or Jovic? One of the
Tyler
young players?
I don't
Hero-
think Tyler Hero and Bam are
Well,
not.
no,
being
you could
moved.
give
I think
Tim.
that's
You could
easy.
give Duncan Robinson.
I don't think they say yes to that. That's what
Well,
I'm
no,
saying.
okay, well,
Yeah, I don't think they say yes to that. You know?
I just think Tyler Hero right now is on such a team-friendly deal that I just don't want to move him. He's giving you all-star production, and for the next 2 years, he's going to be making 31 million and 33
no,
million.
I
That's
think
one of the best
money-
deals in the league.
It's not even a Tyler Hero thing. It's like
they have Terry Rozier, 25 mil. Terry Rozier, Duncan.
if you Miami, and the best thing you can offer is Terry Rozier, Jaime Jaquez, and Duncan Robinson. You fighting with the Spurs. You have to do better. If you really want Fox, you have to do better than that. Like and Terry Rozier might get banned. He might get banned from
No,
the
that's a
league
fact.
right
He's
now.
probably untradeable right now.
Yeah, I don't think the Heat have the assets to do it. I think
They have to go
the
all in with
Spurs
draft
have it. I think the Spurs are in the driver's seat. If they
Yep.
want to get this done, they can do it. There's a lot of argument, I think, within Spurs Twitter about who they would want to give up. If you have to include Stephon Castle in a potential De'Aaron Fox trade, are you doing it? Are you including him?
I hate it, but yes.
I don't think you have to.
Oh, no, but I'm asking if you do.
I would. I would.
I don't.
I don't want
think,
to.
Riv, here we are. Here we are, Riv. So we got this kid Castle, who I think is your lead guard in the future, right? So now,
my boy,
Got to get a little more efficient though, OG.
oh, I just got the job. I just got the job, Drew. Can you give me a break?
Vocal.
I just got the job.
Got to be consistent.
Give me a second. And I'm playing behind Chris Paul. So now what's gonna happen is that you're gonna move whomever you're gonna move, and now I got to play behind De'Aaron Fox.
That
What's going on?
Shot is ugly.
It is ugly, and it can get better. Just like Lonzo Ball's shot was ugly when he showed up, and he fixed it, right?
But it wasn't 25% bad.
But his free throw percentage was like 50% bad.
Okay.
So I mean, we can fix. These are things we can fix.
I'm here.
These aren't things that we can't fix. We can fix this stuff. So if I'm moving on Fox, if I'm Sacramento, Castle has to be in the deal. He has to be in the deal.
Here's where I get stuck in these tough conversations, because it's not that I think Stephon Castle is untouchable. I don't think that 100%. The thing is, with the Spurs and the Rockets, I really genuinely don't think they'll need to give up these guys to get a player like Fox.
What do you have to give up?
They have so much.
That's what it sounds like to me, Dale, because it sounds like he's trying to hand me a bucket of extra crispy.
It's not like Kelvin Johnson, Harrison.
That's what it
Barnes.
sounds like. He's trying to do. I don't like what I'm hearing from
this.
Riv. I don't.
The reason why I don't get this, Riv, is because you're telling me that the Heat have to give up Tyler Hero, but
They
the
don't have draft
Spurs
capital,
still
brother.
got to give up
Right.
Stephon Castle.
What's going on?
Miami don't have draft capital like the Spurs or the Rockets.
No,
they don't.
I just feel like you need draft capital and a player that also has some potential for the future.
Like I feel
I
like
don't think
two
you're getting
unprotected
Fox with one of
firsts
those.
and Jaime or Jovic, that's not close.
And you hold on. Question. Okay, let's say Dels. Say that one more time.
I said two unprotected firsts from the Heat, which would have to be down the line like 27 and 29, and a player like Jovic or Jaime Jaquez isn't close.
it would have to be.
That's hilarious as shit. I'll be honest. Like, because the Spurs can literally. Jalen Johnson just went down for the year. The Spurs have the Hawks pick for this year. They can literally dangle that in Sacramento's face. Like, yo, bro, we have a very valuable pick that's worth better than whatever you just said about Miami. Everything you just mentioned with Miami, that Hawks pick is probably more valuable. So you sitting there, you got the Spurs, you got like 10 picks. I get it. If Stephon Castle got to go, he got to go. I don't hate that. But I think the Spurs and the Rockets are sitting there like, why are we giving up these young players when we can give up draft?
Also, if you're San Antonio and you know Fox wants to come to you, why am I giving up anything that's super valuable?
Is the hand already tipped? You already tipped your hand.
It's already another thing.
You already tipped
Nah,
your
but
hand.
that's not right, because the Lakers knew that they were going to get AD.
That's
But
AD.
they still gave up 4 firsts,
That's-
2
that's-
seconds.
I would say, yeah,
Lonzo, Brandon
If
Ingram.
De'Aaron Fox was a top 5 player in the world, I'd be like, yeah, do it.
But
you
they,
know?
my point being is they tipped their hand. They still got a bag. You could still tip your hand. You still get yours. It's
Well,
simple.
also, when LeBron's there, it's like we have to do this now. And maybe with Wemby, he's so damn good that you feel that pressure because you can make the playoffs this year if you get De'Aaron Fox. But I feel like there's less pressure since he's so young. And Bron's, at the time, whatever, 36, 37 years old.
I was working the trade machine. I'll be honest, it's almost impossible for the Heat to get De'Aaron Fox unless the Kings are the team that gets Jimmy Butler.
Do we have to get a third team involved in this?
I'll tell you what, OG,
we
I
get a third team
genuinely
involved in this?
tried in like the 10 minutes that I had here to cook it up real quick for a 3-team trade, I don't know what would be the third team that would be involved. Like I thought for whatever reason to include the Pacers. I don't know why my mind went to Indiana. Chicago's not a bad one.
Make the money
well,
work.
You have to send Jimmy to a team that he wants to go to. So I'll say maybe the Suns.
He wants to go anywhere but the Grizzlies. So.
Do we hate Sacramento and Jimmy? Yes.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
Be honest with you, I don't care with Jimmy Butler. I'm good. I'm not accommodating Jimmy Butler.
So we have these all-star reserves that were announced that I think we got to get into because OG, I mean, you were infuriated with these. So we'll talk about them. The 2025 NBA East all-star reserves: Jaylen Brown, Pascal Siakam, Darius Garland, Cade Cunningham, Evan Mobley, Damian Lillard, and Tyler Hero. Instant reaction, OG.
Like, what does Trae Young have to do to be a consistent all-star? I don't understand it. It's driving me up the wall. I mean, last year, 27-10. These how many times in history that's happened where a guy has averaged that much and not been an outright all-star. He was in as an alternate. That's number one. This season, he's leading the league in assists. And as good as Atlanta was, there aren't 5 guards in the league in the Eastern Conference playing better than him. It's not. And I think it's easier. I think it's easier to leave Trae Young off the All-Star team, just like it's easy to leave Sabonis off the All-Star team, which is another thing that's nonsense.
Did they leave him off?
He's off the All-Star team. How can you leave Sabonis off the All-Star team? This is the same guy who, again, is leading the league in double-doubles and triple-doubles. That's going on.
I don't understand.
That is going on. Meanwhile, he gets left off. I knew Houston was going to get somebody. I thought it was going to be Jalen Green. I didn't think that it was going to be Sengun because I looked at the bigs in the Western Conference with Davis and Jaren Jackson and Sengun and Anthony Davis, Jaren Jackson, Sengun, Wemby. I think Sengun's going to be the odd man out, and I think Jalen Green is going to be the guy that you ultimately get on. But, I mean, what does this say about the selection when you leaving a guy like Sengun off the team? And Drew, I got something. I got something for you. I want you to know this. The Utah Jazz have hosted the All-Star game twice in the last 30 years. The Utah Jazz.
Okay.
You know how many times the Sacramento Kings have hosted the All-Star game?
0.
Not one time has the All-Star game been in Sacramento. Not once. What is going on in Sacramento?
I guess they don't care about basketball as much.
What is happening up there? This is ridiculous.
I'm
trying to make sense of it. Jaylen Brown is not an all-star this season. He's not.
No.
Jaylen Brown is not an all-star this season, and you can't convince me that he is.
Jaren!
He's not been playing like
Jaren deserved it. James Harden made it. It's a good surprise. I'll say
deserved.
That.
Deserved.
I'm not too against it one way or the other. I am shocked Sabonis didn't make it. Sengun, I understand the logic behind him making it. J-Dub also made the All-Star game as well. That was interesting. I think he's played good basketball. Do I think he's played better basketball than Sabonis? I wouldn't say that. I feel like there's another guard that they left off. Oh, yeah, Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving did not make the All-Star game. I think that's pretty nuts. I understand that they've fallen off a little bit, but he's kept them afloat, being one of the most efficient guards in the game as well. I think that was pretty shocking. No, Kyrie Irving's pretty crazy. I think he's been better than J-Dub this year, pretty comfortably, truthfully. I am kind of shocked. I will say before we move on with this conversation, listen to this 3-team trade with the Heat, the Kings, and the Suns, with Jimmy Butler going to Phoenix. It would be the Miami Heat getting De'Aaron Fox and Trey Lyles, the Sacramento Kings getting Bradley Beal, and the Phoenix Suns getting Jimmy Butler.
Bradley Beal says, no, thank you.
He does have a no trade clause.
Yeah,
that is true.
That's the issue. Bradley Beal says, I'm not going to play in Sacramento. No way.
I'm not going to Sacramento. That's
you know what it was?
happening.
I got the trade accepted. I got all excited. I said, let's share this. Fair enough. He does say no.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Just Bradley Beal's. Yeah,
Drew, I'm with you. All the trades I tried, Hero has to be in the deal to make the money work.
It's impossible. It's
literally. Wait a minute though, Dell. Does getting Bradley Beal, does that entice De'Aaron Fox to stay?
It better not.
No. De'Aaron Fox goes to Miami in this situation.
So he's already gone.
So he's gone.
Nope. Then
Question. Bradley Beal's a 1 again.
Who the
No.
fuck cares?
Nobody wants
Mm-mm.
that.
Bradley Beal cares.
No.
Bradley
That's
Beal,
what-
DeMar
That's the
DeRozan,
problem.
All
the
that
bonus
matters in
big
this
three.
situation is getting Bradley Beal to say yes.
Mm.
You know,
Mm-mm.
and he'd be the one.
I think he just wants to like compete on a good team. I don't think he
I
cares.
don't think
about
he
his
wants to
role
go to
as much.
Sacramento.
Sacramento's not dog shit.
I think
I
he
mean,
wants to
according
go
to
to
Miami,
I think he
they're a
low-key
terrible
wants
basketball
to.
town, but
I think he low-key wants to go to Miami. I think he like that's a place where he wants to go.
He
And
should
Rouse
want to.
and Rouse wanted him. I think the problem was Rouse went to Mickey Aronson about this trade. Mickey Aronson didn't like the money, and he didn't like the no trade clause. That's why he passed.
I get that.
So I did this trade on ESPN on the trade machine for the Heat and the Kings.
Mm-hmm.
De'Aaron Fox and Kevin Huerter go to the Heat, and the Kings get back Rozier, Duncan Robinson, Haywood Highsmith, Kevin Love, Jaquez, and Jovic.
Damn, that's a lot of players.
it's a big
That worked.
trade.
Yes, it
Yeah.
worked.
The thing is, Terry Rozier is probably done. That's the issue. Is that
Wait,
his
I thought
salary
they
is
said
probably
they
done.
used they went through the investigation and found nothing.
Who knows?
This came out today.
Who knows?
That's what I'm saying. Let me look.
If you can't use his contract, then it's
cooked. Yeah,
you
you're
can't make this trade happen pretty much. But back to the conversation of the Eastern Conference All-Star reserves. Jaylen Brown is not an All-Star in my opinion. Lamelo Ball, Trae Young, snubbed.
Levine.
One of those two guys
Levine
was
did.
getting snubbed though, because Cade Cunningham
Levine
to
didn't
me
Levine didn't make it.
was a locked-in All-Star reserve. Darius Garland, I felt like you couldn't overlook what he was doing either. So I felt like he was pretty much gonna make it for me, him and Dame. So it was really between one of those two guys making it. If I had to pick between LaMelo and Trae, I would have picked Trae. But the Jaylen Brown thing, Franz Wagner has been better than him this year. Zach LaVine has been better than him this year.
Franz ain't playing enough games. I don't think.
But
Yeah,
Franz,
Franz has been hurt.
I think Franz has played 30 plus games this year, if I'm not mistaken.
You might be right. I don't know.
On the All-Star. Jaylen Brown is on the All-Star team because he plays for the World Champs.
Yeah,
That's why.
absolutely. Absolutely.
just-
Not on
I
the
just-
All-Star team
this
for
is-
any other
Shout
reason.
out to my
except that.
goat. Happy
This
for him.
is undeserved. I think this
No.
is really undeserved. But
Undeserved
outside,
Finals MVP.
it's undeserved. It's undeserved.
Last year you were so good. You're an all-star this year.
But I
That's
will
how it was
say-
with Chris Middleton. They forget. Chris Middleton,
outside-
the exact same thing happened.
Outside of Jaylen Brown, I don't think anybody here was a big miss by whoever's voting it in.
Yeah, I think the East is pretty calm outside of Jaylen
Yeah.
Brown. It's unfortunate Jalen Johnson got hurt, so we don't know whether he would have got snubbed or not because he's hurt.
He
so
probably
just,
would have.
like,
If
yeah,
these
but
other dudes
I
did.
think for
Tyler
the-
Hero deserved to be an All-Star. I'm sorry, Riv. Continue.
No, that's another guy I was gonna say. I don't mind Tyler Hero making the
I think
All-Star
he
game.
deserved it.
You know, he like
Over
there's a-
LaMelo,
I think. Listen, you value winning, and he's averaging 27 points a game. So
he's
like,
amazing. He's been
yeah,
amazing.
He's
I'm
been
not going to
cooking.
say
He's been efficient.
Arrow's efficiency has been out of
it's
this
been
world.
incredible. What is
Like,
he
I don't
averaging?
mind- I do-
45% on threes.
Yeah, I do agree with OG though. I felt strongly about Trae Young needing to make the All-Star game this year just because he's been the engine for this team. He's been
100%.
the best playmaker in the East this year. He's been the top 5 playmaker in basketball this year. He's been the glue to to whatever Atlanta's running over there. So I really felt like he should have made it. But like Joel mentioned, the guards that made it, I mean, I don't hate them. Like the Cavs are on a 65 win pace. They have 3 guys playing similar levels. So if you put up one, you got to put the other 2 up. You can make the argument each guy has had a game, probably 10, 15 games where they've been the best player in Garden, in Mobley, or Donovan Mitchell. You can argue Donovan Mitchell this season has been the 3rd best out the bunch. So I think those 3 making it comfortable. Cade, lock. I think Siakam making it is cool. It's really just Jaylen Brown. Like, why are you up there? Honestly.
I thought that the Cavs would get 4 guys, considering what was going on in the Eastern Conference with the lack of bigs, no Joel Embiid, and the fact that Bam has underperformed this season. I thought that they'd get a 4th guy in Jared Allen. I thought he was going to make the All-Star team last year, but I think that Jaylen Brown was the one who threw a monkey wrench in this for me, because I really felt like Evan Mobley took that step this season, and now what I thought for him is actually coming to fruition. I think he's an 18 to 22 a game guy for his career. I think he's an 18 to 22 and 12 a game guy, 3 blocks at the top of the defensive player of the year leaderboard. I think him, Wemby, Chet, I think these are the guys that we're going to be talking about in the future. So I definitely think he's deserving of it. I think Darius Garland is a 50, 40, 90 guy averaging 20 a game on a team
He's been amazing.
That's got the best record in not just the Eastern Conference. I think they had the best record in the NBA at one point.
Now.
So they got the best record in the league. If I'm not mistaken, Donovan Mitchell is average over the last 6 games, averaging like 35 a game. He's getting busy. He's getting busy.
He needed that.
He's back.
Pascal Siakam quietly, and when I say
Oh my God, it just hit me.
I don't like to use the word quietly.
Siakam didn't make it.
He did make it, dude.
He's on the crew. He's on the crew. Yes, he's on the crew.
Thank God. I almost had an aneurysm.
Yes.
I almost had an aneurysm.
He's 100% on the crew. And like I said, Siakam, I don't like to use the word quietly. I haven't really watched Indiana as much as I did last season, but he's been having a damn good year. I think he might be having the best year of his career this season. I think he might be having the best year of his career. One of the highest field goal percentages that he's shooting. He's one of the best transition players that I think in the game. There aren't many transition players better than him. He's been fantastic. But to Riv's point, you look around the room and you go, "What are you doing here? Why are you here?" And that's what when I see Jaylen Brown, I'm like, "Why are you here?" He shouldn't be here, Dell. I'm not knocking him as a player, but he shouldn't be here, Dell.
I'm with you. After his performance in the playoffs last year,
get him out of here.
He shouldn't be here. No.
OG, let me ask you a question. Gun to your head. Bam Adebayo, Domantas
Sabonis.
Move on.
And I'm a Bam guy. I love Bam Adebayo.
The answer.
Anybody who knows me knows I love.
No other answer. It's Sabonis. So I'm glad.
I just watched that game when they played Sacramento out in Sacramento, and I'm thinking to myself, because Bam's a tough guy, but I'm watching Sabonis like, can you imagine having a fight with that dude all night?
No, he's a tough SOB.
I wouldn't want to imagine.
No, having a fight with him all night. Yeah, I'm sorry, Joe, if I interrupted you.
The last thing I want to mention with the East All-Star reserves is Franz Wagner has played 28 games this year. He's averaging 25, 6, and 5. 46% from the field, 31.7% from 3, not that efficient. Jaylen Brown's averaging 23, 6, and 5. He's played 41 games, so he's played 13 more games than Franz. Same efficiency, pretty much. Franz is a little bit more efficient. I really think that Jaylen Brown was one of the most undeserving All-Stars this year. I don't think he deserved to make it.
We have to keep ragging on him, man.
Yeah, like it's the 18th time said. Move on.
We can keep doing it. It's just a lot of players that should have made it over him. That's what it is.
Lamelo Ball
Jared Allen also should have made it over him 100%.
Of all the reserves,
they screwed up. Here's why they screwed up, because what you've done now is you've told the fans that your votes don't matter. That's what you did. And the reason why I say that is because Lamelo Ball, SGA, was the only guard, not in the Western Conference, but in the league, who had more votes than him.
From the
All-Star game, the entire fan base. SGA is the only guard who had more votes than Lamelo Ball. And the game is in San Francisco. So you telling the NBA that we want to see this dude more than we want to see Steph Curry. And the game is in San Francisco. So now, if you're going to tell him that we don't think you're an all-star, we think that you should see these guys instead, why are the fans voting?
Yeah, LaMelo. It's also, what does that tell you about how the media and what coaches think about LaMelo Ball?
LaMelo got a lot of player votes. The players respect him. Like LaMelo got a ton.
He was third.
Player vote. Yeah,
you're right.
Very high. So
coaches.
Players, it just unfortunately like. Coaches have this weird thing where they factor winning, then they don't, then they do, then they like play a little favorite. Like LaMelo's not a likable guy among coaches and in the media, and it's fine.
But how?
No, it's not, Riv. It's not fine.
No, I'm not saying it's fine in the sense of like that should be okay. I'm saying like we know how good he is. We know we had him on the All-Star team. I just guess it's that Charlotte cloud around you. He's in Charlotte putting up numbers on a bad team. Like
my thing is, OG.
Oh, here we go.
Jalen Brunson or LaMelo Ball? Who does just your perspective? Who deserves to be in an All-Star game more, Brunson or LaMelo?
It's Brunson, duh.
Well, Brunson is the better player. I'm not going to argue that point. But
I'm just telling you, who's more of an All-Star this year?
Well, Brunson definitely is a better player, and he's played at an All-Star level higher. However, what is the All-Star game about? It's about the fans.
But it's also about who's having the best season.
100%. 100% it's about that, but it's also about the fans. Who do the fans want to
okay.
see? The fans want to see LaMelo Ball. They do.
Entertainment value 100%. I agree with you, but I just want your opinion on this.
Jalen Brunson has been having a better season than he's been definitely having a better season.
Cade Cunningham or LaMelo?
Don't be silly, OJ.
It's not LaMelo's team.
What is Cade's team? Honest to God, genuine question.
Strong mid.
They're not good. No, it's not.
Mid.
No, it's still not good. He's just that good.
He had fucking Tim Hardaway and Malik Beasley.
Let's not disrespect Malik Beasley. Yes. Tobias Harris is a respectable
wasn't even an NBA player last year.
It's insane. I can't believe Malik Beasley
Riv,
has had this.
We can't keep talking about Detroit like we did in the past, though, Riv.
It's because of him that he just learned how to shoot again? Like,
no, because the kid is that fucking good.
Even if he is, though, Riv, we can't talk about the Detroit Pistons like we did last year. Like, this is not the 28 straight loss
group, Riv.
Detroit Pistons. No.
But we're acting like he got a fringe all-star.
No.
I said strong mid.
You're not going to trick me. No, you're not going to trick me. You're not going to trick me. No, you're not going to trick me.
Okay.
This team is ass.
I said strong mid.
This team is not good.
He's mid.
This team is ass. I want y'all to know this from the bottom of my heart. I watch the game.
I watch it all the time.
Yes, they are, Riv. Don't do that.
Cade is just that good.
If you watch the Detroit Pistons, look at that crew. They got a little bit of everything. They don't do one thing.
Jalen Duren isn't good, but it sucks.
No, he doesn't. No, he's one of the best. He's one of the best. No, he's one of the best.
Jalen Duren is bad.
No, he's not.
Really bad.
He's one of the best rebounders in the game.
Oh, gee, he's not great. He's not
no,
great.
I ain't saying well. I'm not saying that he's awesome.
I don't know if he's good. I don't know if he's good.
He's one of the best rebounders in the game. He's a little bit robotic.
Andre Drummond.
And they made the playoffs with him. What are you talking about? What's going on here? They made the playoffs with Andre Drummond. So what are you talking about, Drew? And on top of that, this isn't the same crew from last year. They got better shooting. They got Tim Hardaway. They got Malik Beasley. Right? They got more dirty work guys.
It's a better situation.
Hold on. Who's the second best player on Detroit right now? Who's the second best player?
Tobias Harris.
He's averaging 12 a game, Riv. He's averaging 12 a game.
It was Jaden Ivey. It was Jaden Ivey, and he got hurt. Jaden Ivey, and he got hurt.
You know what's the difference? And you haven't said it yet, and this is the most important. Yeah, they got shooters.
Maybe bigger staff.
That's the difference.
Yeah, maybe bigger staff.
It's the difference. Because this roster is still not good, in my opinion. We can go back and forth from the mid and all that, whatever. But in reality, this roster is still not. We still all had them, so we can stop the lying here because we all still had them at a bottom 5 team, probably even lower.
Let's live in the now. We didn't live in the now. They're strong mid now.
We didn't have them. And we had them below the
player. Cade Cunningham would be this amazing this season.
That's why I'm giving him praise because he has even
exceeded your expectations.
Exceeded my expectations. Okay. We all had them like a 12 seed.
I'm gonna take it a step further than that, Riv. I think Detroit makes the playoffs. Not they play in.
If they do, you can't say it.
I think they
so then they are better than strong.
So far, we have Brunson, OG, Cade or LaMelo.
Cade.
I'm taking LaMelo. I don't care. I'm a ride.
Wait, this year LaMelo's had a better year than Cade?
I said what I said.
Okay.
Let him have a year better than this.
I don't think there should be an 11-game difference between those two teams.
I watched Lamelo Ball go 5 for 18 at the long ball line. Get Melo.
Dog shit.
And we thought Detroit would be dog shit too.
Hey, their team is better. They're better and healthier.
It's fine. Okay, so Donovan Mitchell or LaMelo?
Miller's hurt. He's done for the year.
Donovan Mitchell.
Mark Williams just came back.
I'm talking. That's exactly what I'm saying. And Barry Miller's been out for a majority of the season.
Okay, next name up. Darius Garland or LaMelo, who's having a better year?
Darius Garland.
Okay, that's
Garland,
4.
Garland.
Trey Young or LaMelo, who's having a better year?
Wait, Drew, Garland or LaMelo?
If he was on the Cavs, he'd be amazing.
But he's not. We got to do what's like. Garland's one of the most efficient players in the league. He's one of the most clutch players in the league.
You're saying no?
I watched LaMelo Ball play against the Milwaukee Bucks, and he shot 18 threes. 18 of them.
How many he made?
5 of them, probably.
5 of them. He went 5 for 18 at the long ball line. And I'm watching this dude.
Looking at like 51, 52?
I think he had like 50 or 40, close to 50.
OG, right now we have
4 guards.
Brunson, Cade, Mitchell, Garland, Trey Young or LaMelo, who's having a better year?
Trey Young
is a better playmaker by far.
Both of them. Both of them are inefficient. But to answer your question, I'll take Dre.
That's 5 guards already that are having a better year than LaMelo Ball, according to you, and
Did you say Dame?
Damian Lillard.
Yeah,
I think Dame's an All-Pro. I'll take it a step
So
further. I think Dame's an All-Pro.
if we're stacking them up, LaMelo Ball's he hasn't been an All-Star this year.
Not according to the fans, he has. That's what I'm thinking about. I'm not thinking about.
He's got a fun game.
Stand on business. It's either is he an all-star or not?
He's got good rapport with the fans.
I'm saying Drew. I'm saying he's an all-star for the fans because they want to see him as an all-star. Am I voting for LaMelo? Do I think LaMelo Ball? I said I'm on record saying when he didn't start an all-star game, he's gonna get snubbed. He's out. I'm on record saying that.
First of all, let's be honest. Drew, my brother, you are one of 100 people that probably watch Charlotte games. One of 100 people that probably watch Charlotte games.
Watch him too.
People who, OG, you probably are 2 now of 100 people that watch Charlotte games.
It's not an easy watch.
Be all the way 100.
It's hard.
You probably watched LaMelo drive that go-kart on the roof and was like, I'm voting for him. Just because of that vibe right there. That aura, that vibe, I'm voting for him. D'Angelo just dropped Song of the Year. We're getting him votes. Like, what is like?
It ain't because he balling. Is that what you're trying to tell me? That 31 a game ain't moving you? It's not.
When you make an all-star game, it's not about your team.
Joel,
at times, it's about the individual.
Joel, remind me again. When Bradley Beal was averaging 30 that year, he didn't make the All-Star game.
Is he as cool as LaMelo Ball? Yes or no?
That's my point. LaMelo got aura. The fans loved it.
He's
Kids
dropping
him. Top down jerseys.
7 a game. He's averaging the most
Bradley Beal
PRA
did
of
not do
any
it.
player that made the reserves.
I have a
He's
question.
cool.
The thing with LaMelo Ball, and this is I made a statement before before the season started. It's just the inefficiency and the turnovers are too much for me. Even with him being on a bad team, the decision making is subpar.
Cade is a turnover machine. Joe, don't bring up the turnovers.
Here's the ball.
I'm not bring up the turnovers, Joe. And Rick, don't stop the bullshit about this team being bad. I don't want to hear that.
Cade is more efficient than LaMelo.
He's got that, and they're winning.
I'm not disagreeing. All I'm saying is,
and Cade also.
Hey,
OG.
Here you go, OG.
Cade also plays defense. LaMelo doesn't play defense. LaMelo plays no defense.
Would you play defense for that bum ass Hornets team?
Cade played defense last year. They were ass.
Nah, they've been with Mark Will in the lineup, but he's always hurt. But he's back now. But even still, he's missing a game.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Whoa! How fair is that?
I said I'm sorry.
How fair? Whoa! That was sarcastic as fuck. Just because LaMelo Ball's team is unhealthy, now we pin it against him?
No, I said I'm
You
sorry.
can't go and bring second, third stringers to a playing team?
Trade him to Orlando.
I would fucking love that, Riv.
No.
Would the Hornets, would they move off of the only reason people go to games?
I don't know if I'd
the only
make him for
reason
LaMelo.
people care about Charlotte. You get him off the team, they might relocate. I'm not even joking.
Maybe they should.
They've made it through worse eras.
They've been dog shit for a while.
Listen, Kemba Walker made the playoffs with that team. Let's get it.
He made a plan.
Let's get it going, LaMelo.
Them Bobcat days, man.
Okay, so in the Western Conference All-Stars, the reserves: Anthony Edwards, Anthony Davis, James Harden, Jaren Jackson Jr., Şengün, Jalen Williams, Victor Wembanyama.
I'm fine with that.
Biggest snubs from here, I guess, would be
Sabonis and Kyrie Irving.
Yeah.
I'm
Sabonis
fine.
and Kyrie are my 2 biggest snubs.
And I can appreciate you, Joel. Hit me out. Appreciate you. How you feel about James Harden? I can appreciate. I actually thought it was going to be Norman Powell. I thought he deserved to be an All-Star this season.
Over Harden?
Yes.
Real.
I wishy-washy on Harden too. Now he likes Harden again. He's a Harden guy again.
I thought Norman Powell deserved to be an All-Star.
I don't think Norman Powell's been the best player on the Clippers this year. I think it's been Harden.
It's been the 39% from the field, 31% from 3. James Harden.
He's leading the team in assists.
Okay.
And turnovers.
Congratulations.
Yeah, he should. It's James.
He has the ball all the time, OG.
Who else is going to average more assists than Harden on that goddamn team, bro?
Yeah, because he has to create all the
Harden might be the
offense.
only one that can legitimately dribble.
I agree.
And
And KPJ. And he shouldn't even be on an NBA team.
And
KPJ be trolling,
He's shooting
bro.
35% from 3 now. He's averaging 22, 6, and 8. Come on, what are you talking about? This
What is he shooting from the field? 39?
39%.
Yeah, it's fucking dog shit.
39.9%. 40, almost 40%.
I don't
It's almost as good as your boy LaMelo.
Oh
No, LaMelo's actually shooting over 40, which is the floor is so low, I guess.
And I do understand that the NBA was in a tough spot with the bigs. You know, Houston's second seed in the West, and you know, I don't think that you can have the second seed in the West and not have an all-star.
100%.
But to leave Sabonis off this all-star team again, considering what he's producing, the rebound machine he is. I think he's leading the league in rebounding again for the second straight year. He's leading the league in double-doubles and triple-doubles again for the second straight year. And the Sacramento Kings are a good team. They are. They ended up moving off of Mike Brown. They're actually back in the win column, and they're starting to roll again. And Sabonis, for all intents and purposes, his ability to pass, his ability to get downhill, how tough he is around the rim, that screams all-star to me. And the fact that he's 20 and 14 and he's not an all-star, what does he have to do to be an all-star? That's what I would like to know.
Get out of Sacramento, OG. That's what it sounds like.
De'Aaron Fox
That's
to
what
make
it
the
sound
all-star
like,
game.
Can I
That's
also
exactly
say
what it
this,
sound
OG? Look at Houston. I think the NBA kind of learned from their mistakes a couple years back, 2022. No Fox, no Sabonis, even though they were a top 2 team in the West. This year, I thought that Sabonis would make it over Sengun. I believe that very confidently. Even though J-Dub is on the top seeded team in the West, I thought that Kyrie would make it over him. So they favored winning a lot.
If a man was starting since like November, he would have been in over Sengun easy.
Cook.
I've actually heard this, Rib, that he's their best player. I've heard
kind of nasty for Sengun.
OG, I'll tell you that from the bottom of my heart. I believe.
But now you got to live with the fact that Alperen Sengun is a all-star.
One time. Here we go. Who ends up with more, him or Amon?
Probably Amen. Amen is more talented.
Let's
But Sengun, he's going to be menacing.
Conversation. Who ends up with more?
Wait, combine them.
Why do you do that?
Combine
what was the point of that?
Let's combine them. Who ends up with more all-stars?
I think that in the West, there's 3 fringe guys. Like, I think Jalen Williams, Sengun, and Harden, you can make arguments for 3 people being in those spots, whether it's Kyrie or Sabonis or De'Aaron Fox. Devin Booker, even though the Suns haven't been winning, he's having a pretty incredible season. By his standards, I guess not, but by anybody else's standards, Devin Booker would be like,
where did Jaylen Brown get this? Not by his standards.
Devin Booker's having a better season than Jaylen Brown.
Yo, am I the only one that thinks J-Dub shouldn't have been an all-star?
No, I'm very vocal on it.
If there's one that got kicked out, it's him.
I don't think he has an argument to be an all-star this year.
Wait, who has a better case to be an all-star, him or James Harden?
Right.
I think Harden has a better case.
Really? Considering that they are arguably the best defensive team in NBA history. He's a huge part of that. I think Jalen was in the all-league defender this year.
I think J-Dub's been
and on top of him being an all-league defender, isn't he like 20 plus a game this season?
Like 26.
Yeah, but pretty inefficient for what you would hope.
Right, 26 and 5. I think he's going to be an all-league defender. Oklahoma City is at the top of the Western Conference, largely due to SGA and him. Right, and don't get me wrong, I don't think that they're where they should be yet, and I think that's largely due to him. I still think they're a year away from winning it, and I think that's due to him. I don't think he's there yet. But in terms of being an all-star, I'm having a difficult time with the logic that somebody is better than a guy who's on the best team in the league doing what he's doing. Meanwhile, we got Cleveland. They got 3 guys on the all-star team.
Yeah,
3 of them.
Because I think the difference in the argument is with Cleveland. No matter who's on the floor, they're often like whether it's Garland or Mitchell. Garland might have the best, like they might be the best offense when Garland's on the floor and Mitchell is off. Like they don't miss a beat. With the argument to Harden versus J-Dub, I just looking with both of them run the show, and J-Dub looks lost without SGA on the court. Like the offense in general, I'm not even going to just put that on J-Dub. I feel like that's unfair.
The offense 100%.
Yeah, the offense in general just looks lost without SGA. Harden's been having to, and I'm not saying the Clippers are these world beaters on offense, but he's been having to hold the fort down essentially this whole entire season while Kawhi's been out with a bunch of guys who we don't think are any, like outside of Norman Powell, we don't think anybody to be a specialist at anything on offense. You know, Derrick Jones Jr. isn't this, he's a lob threat, but he's 6'7". You know, Zubac is probably the other guy, but he works really well in the pick and roll. James Harden has essentially elevated his game, I feel like. You know, and then you have guys like KPJ, Chris Dunn. Like, these aren't world beaters. And I think Harden has been the engine and been trying to uplift his team, which he's been doing. And it hasn't been at elite or great level, but he's keeping them afloat. And I think
so. Riv, can I come? I can combat that with what Jalen Williams has been doing with Oklahoma City defensively as the versatile defender that he is. Man, they got him playing the 5. They start a 5-man lineup with SGA, Carson, Cason Wallace, SGA, Cason Wallace,
Lou Dort.
Let's see, Lou Dort. Who am I?
Aaron Wiggins? Is that
Wiggins? That's what I'm thinking about. Wiggins and J-Dub is playing the 5.
No, he's amazing. He's versatile.
In addition to that, with SGA on the floor, who SGA plays the majority of the minutes. I mean, he's not off the floor a lot with Jalen Williams on the floor. He's not off the floor a lot, but when he is on the floor, Jalen Williams has been fantastic. So for a guy to be that versatile, to be that integral on a defensive team that good, plus averaging 20 and 6, okay, I can appreciate the logic of him not being as efficient as you'd like him to be. But for what they're doing, one of the biggest reasons why they're at the top of the Western Conference is because of J-Dub. So I don't hate J-Dub as an all-star. I don't.
And the efficiency is not horrendous. It's 47% from the field. I agree. The 3-point is definitely below league average at 34.
No, like just relative true shooting, it's below league average.
Oh,
yeah,
I think
shooting. Her cleaning the glass. There was a point in time where Jalen Williams.
True shooting makes me think Jalen Brunson is better than maybe he might be. But damn it, that true shooting moves me.
Hey, true shooting. Look at James Harden's. It's actually not that bad because of
what
free
is it?
throws.
52.
It's probably like 54 with the free throws.
Yeah, we're really throwing account over that dog shit.
I mean, James Harden's getting to the line. That's what he does. Jalen Williams in 1,006 possessions this year when he has been on the floor and SGA has been off the floor. The Thunder's offensive rating is 106.3. It's 11th percentile. So it's one of the worst offenses in the NBA. But they have a 104 defensive rating, which is 97th percentile, even when SGA is off the floor. So even if the offense isn't there, the defense still holds them afloat in those lineups, and they're a +2. So it's not, anything.
Do they have to win a championship for us to talk about them? Single season, one of the best defenses we ever seen.
What do you mean?
Yes.
Like it needs a championship to have that type of feel, because I feel like advanced numbers wise, night in, night out, the defense, regardless of personnel, it's going to be amazing.
Well, we can't talk about them, Drew, like the teams that they're being compared to, like the Bulls of '96, right?
Uh-huh.
The Pistons in 2004, because all of those teams won. We can't talk about you guys like that if you don't win.
You don't win. I agree.
No, we can't talk about those guys like that. No.
So actually, Harden's true shooting percentage is 57%.
It's 57. It's good.
So it's better than Lamelo.
Agreed.
That loser over there.
Loser. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, James Harden is winning games.
Necessary, Drew? Drew, was that necessary?
I'm just saying.
Hey, James Harden can raise the floor, man. I'll give him that. He's a floor raiser.
Hey, why can't LaMelo do it?
LaMelo in year 1 took the Charlotte Hornets. The Hornets.
He didn't lead that team. For half the season, he came off the bench.
Their team was hot. It was very
Listen,
hot. That was an eye team. That's a mid team. That was the mid team right there.
Rip, that's not like a 5.5.
Who was on that team?
Yeah.
Gordon Hayward. Wait, whose team are you talking about?
The 2020 Hornets.
Oh,
whatever.
Yeah, you had Gordon Hayward. You had Terry Rozier.
Scary Terry.
That team was mid as shit.
It was mid. Yeah. Why am I blanking on the rest of the team?
Because it's not that important.
Okay, Rozier, Hayward, Devontae Graham.
Devontae was high.
He was a good player.
PJ Washington
player.
And we seen how great PJ Washington's turned out. So they had a good player on their hands even back then.
He was 20% at the long ball line, Joe. Stop.
And Malik Monk. They had Malik Monk.
At the long ball line.
No. This is a better question. OG, would you associate the term needle mover with PJ Washington?
I would not, sir. No, I would not. No, I would not. I didn't think that was
OG. I swear to God, every time you come on the show, you just make me so happy because you always are spitting fact. That's all I care about.
OG, did PJ Washington not move the needle for the Mavericks last year when they acquired him?
He moved the needle in that OKC series. That's for damn sure.
When he got there, when he was on his way there, I wasn't blown away by PJ Washington. I was like, okay.
But did he move the needle for the Mavericks last year?
Well, think about what he did, though, right? The game plan was we're going to leave the 20% long ball shooter. We're going to leave him open in order for us.
He had a Caleb Martin moment. It happened.
Respect from you,
which is exactly what teams are going to do with Lou Dort come playoff time. The same thing the teams did with PJ Washington. That's what they're going to do with Lou Dort.
This year,
we're going to lose with him shooting.
PJ, 14 points, 8 rebounds. He's shooting 37% from 3. Give him his
100%.
flowers.
And when he got, and I'm not arguing that part. No, I'm not arguing that part. I'm arguing when he first got on the Charlotte, when he first got to Dallas from Charlotte, I was not moved. No, I was not.
Are
I
you
wasn't
moved
impressed
now?
at all.
Were you
I
moved
am.
by the?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I am. Especially off the strength that they own Oklahoma City, and he always plays better
he's
than
one of the main reasons
they
why.
own Oklahoma City. He gets busy against them too. He looks at Shea because
he's
a lot
tough
of people
against
forget
them.
he was on that Kentucky team when Shea was there. He was on
They
that
were
team.
teammates.
Yeah, he has a mental edge over him.
Yes,
That's
he looks at SGA like I know you, so it's my man, but I do know him.
Okay, so we're gonna head on to the last topic of the show,
Mhm.
and it's just which team do you think needs to be active during the NBA trade deadline? We know that it's fast approaching. OG, I'll start with you. What's the number one team that sticks out to you that you feel like needs to make a move?
The team that I think needs to make a move, the Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets. You guys need to be worse than what you already are. You need to up your
They're trying,
chances.
OG.
You
They're
need to be
trying.
more garbage. Why is Ben Simmons still on your roster? Why is Claxton
They're
still on your
15 and
roster?
33,
What are
OG.
you guys?
They're
What are you
15 and
guys doing?
33.
Okay, what exactly? They're 15. They should be 10 and 33. Now. They
OG,
should be
you need
garbage.
this energy with the Bulls. Bring this energy towards the Bulls.
They're
They
even
still
worse.
got Zach Levine, man.
That's what I'm saying. Why they have Vooch? Why they have Levine? Why they have Lonzo?
They've made them all available yesterday. It's lit. It's up.
Finally, they're
It's time.
finally all
You
available.
got 8 days to make trades for 6 players.
And the Brooklyn Nets have made all of these guys available. Why are they still on your rosters? Like, here's the thing, Dale. Here's the thing, Drew. I mean, you put all of this stuff on the yard. You got a yard sale. You put all of this stuff on the yard. You're having a fire sale. Why are you nickel and diming me? Give me the skis. Just give me the skis. I got $10. Give me the skis. Okay, because you're getting new ones anyway, aren't you?
Mhm.
Right? Give me the ski boots too. Here's $5. Give them up. Claxton is not a part of your future. Ben Simmons is not a part of your future. This kid,
Cam Johnson.
Cam Johnson.
You don't think Claxton can be a part of the future?
I think he could be. I think he could be an integral. To be honest with you, I love Claxton in Detroit more than I love James.
Ooh, I like
There
that.
we go.
Vibe.
Fuck
Yeah.
that.
Make moves.
I love Claxton in Detroit.
Let's get
Detroit,
it going.
pick up the telephone and call up Brooklyn
Yep,
and ask for
OG got it
Claxton.
there.
Get Jalen
So what you're
Brown the
saying,
fuck
OG,
out of
is
Detroit.
that you need to cut your losses because it doesn't matter. You don't have to keep them. It reminds me of yesterday. I bought tickets to the Suns and Timberwolves game, and I spent $250 total on those tickets. But last minute I couldn't go, and I had to sell them for 100 total. But I wasn't gonna end up with nothing, so I had to sell it regardless. I had to get something back. So that's what the Bulls need to do with Zach LaVine and Vucevic. Riv, what's your team?
I got two. I got two off the top of my dome ski too that I feel very vocal about. First team is the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think they need a wing. I think they need a really good knockdown. I really do. I think they need a knockdown wing that can hit the three ball, play defense. I really trust me. I believe it. I'm watching this OKC game, and I ain't like what they was throwing out there. I really don't. I feel like.
What do you want, Riv?
Listen, I feel like with Okoro, with Dean Wade, with Niang, you're giving up something to put one guy in. If it's Okoro, you're not having the consistent shooting, but he's a great defender. With George Niang, you're getting the consistent shooting, but he's not a great defender. Dean Wade is kind of a little bit of both, where he gives you okay shooting and some really solid defense with the rebounding. But I think you want a guy that can really stay in those lineups for 35, 38 minutes, can play lockdown defense, can be really consistent from the three-point line. And I think a team like Memphis needs to hone in and get another guy too. I think, listen, having depth is great. Having 12 to 10 guys is great. And you know what else is that great for? Trading them away for more established star players. Not even just stars, more established veteran starters. I think you have a ton of guys, and you can move somebody and find guys that are more valuable for the playoffs. You're not going to play 12 guys in the playoffs. You need to start establishing your roster, establishing your rotation. And I think guys like John Morant, Bane, Jaren, Aldama, I think Edey would be in the lineup. You know, I think Marcus Smart, you can start dangling around his option. I think Jalen Wells has pretty much locked himself in to the rotation for the playoffs. So that's 7 guys I just named that are really strong for your playoff rotation. I think for Memphis, you got a couple draft. You got draft capital. You don't have a ton, but you have a good enough. You have a couple players you could dangle around. Go make a move. Go get a guy like Cam Johnson. Go get a guy like, Rob Williams or whatever. Just go get guys that are more established veterans, guys that have a bit of toughness. Because I feel like I'm watching them play Houston, and the difference to me is mentality. The difference to me is which team wants him more. They've had opportunities to beat that team twice, and Houston just comes out and they feel like they're more aggressive, they're more tough. They feel like Memphis of old 2-3 years ago when Memphis came out, they set the tone. They kind of missed that in that Dillon Brooks vibe. You kind of don't have that in Marcus Smart. I feel like he's much older. He's a different type of leader, and I think you need to go get that. So I think Memphis and Cleveland are my two teams.
Yeah, Joel.
I got two teams too. Two teams, I think: Golden State Warriors, Los Angeles Lakers. Two teams in a similar situation. You have an aging star, Steph Curry, LeBron. We talked about it earlier. The Western Conference, for as good as OKC is, the Lakers still match up with a lot of the teams in the Western Conference, right? Outside those three that I mentioned earlier, OKC, Dallas, and who did I say? Denver.
Stop glazing
those
Dallas.
are the three teams that I'm really nervous about. If I would be the Lakers or really any team for that matter, those are the three contenders to me. But they still have a path, whether that's trading for a big to put Anthony Davis at the 4. More than anything, though, Riv was kind of trolling last couple of weeks, but I think they just need some more talent on the team so they kind of push everyone down where, although Austin Reeves is having a phenomenal year, like maybe you don't have to rely on him to be the number 3 every single night. Maybe you don't have to rely on Max Christie to be like an integral part to the rotation. Just getting some more talent where you're not as reliant on some of these guys come playoff time. Although Reeves, I think, have stepped up, talking about some of the younger guys like Dalton Knecht and Christie. You don't have to rely on them as much. For the Warriors, I know the report came out that Steph and Steve Kerr don't really know how Jimmy Butler would fit with this team. And I understand that. The Warriors, to me, need to make a swing one way or the other. And I think it has to be a pretty drastic swing. Right now, they're the outside looking in. They're the 11th seed, I believe. They're like a half game back, whatever. They're tied with the Kings for the 10th seed. And if the Kings move off Fox, they'll probably jump them. But you also got to look at the San Antonio Spurs. If they make a move, they could easily jump the Warriors. So whether it's selling or buying, the Warriors have to make a move because Steph Curry, we're seeing it now. He's not the superstar top 5 talent that he once was. He's still a good player, still one of the top point guards in the league, but it's obvious he needs
still
a
number
good
2 player.
And to win an NBA championship or even compete,
he's top 15.
He needs like a 1B with him. He needs somebody that is a top 10 level of talent. Is that out there on the market? Probably not. But in my opinion, you need to make one move, either selling or buying if you're the Warriors, because to be in this middle ground and to just waste away Steph Curry and Draymond and this core that you have for another season, it feels rather pointless.
So two things about Curry. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Joe, but 2 things about Curry. Number one, he'll be 37 in March. That's
next month,
1.
baby. I'm gonna throw a parade for my brother.
So he's long in the tooth. And number 2, you are right. They do need to make a drastic move, and that drastic move is move Curry. Why? What are we doing?
One way or the other.
What are we doing?
Or make a big move for another.
What are we doing with this crew? We're not winning. Joel Embiid's not getting on this crew. Giannis is not getting on this crew. You're not getting a top 5 player. What are we still doing here with this crew? You're not winning, and you're not going to make a splash because you don't have anything. Jimmy Butler is not coming to the Golden State Warriors and making them an instant contender. No. He's going to come there, and he's going to be a player that's going to help them be a little better. He's going to help them be a little better.
I don't know. Jimmy's not. He's far from average.
I didn't say he was that. I think he
makes them drastically better.
But when we say drastically better, we say so we go from the 11th spot to the 6th spot,
6, 7, yeah, and then we got to fight.
And how do you like them in the playoffs? Who do you like
Memphis,
them against?
If they go and they match up against Memphis, I don't hate that. If they go
OG,
Houston,
so they're a semifinal.
Golden State only has 2 less losses than the Lakers. 2 less wins.
The Lakers also have a bunch less games played.
Yeah, I just want to point that out just to make it. This isn't no groundbreaking number.
And since you said that, Riv, if y'all saw the Lakers in the playoffs, they smoked y'all in 5 games.
Now we
yes.
smoke.
Also to add to OG's point,
they smoked y'all in 5 games.
We all last night we were watching.
Good.
We were
the Lakers
watching
have 2 stars and they're not that good either.
We were watching the game, Golden State and OKC. OG, let me ask you a question. Golden State. They kind of took over that 4th quarter without somebody in a lineup against OKC.
17 points in the second half, brother.
In the 4th quarter,
I don't know what you're about to start doing. You're about to start lying.
Brandon Podziemski didn't Brandon Podziemski hit a step back 3 to increase the lead?
No, when he hit that, bro, I was like, this ain't happening.
Didn't Kyle Anderson hit a mid-range jump shot?
Kyle Anderson hitting that shot.
That was impressive.
Bro.
That was impressive.
That was all with number.
They need to play Kyle Anderson more. I don't know why they don't.
Slow-mo gets plenty of run.
Drew, you don't think the Lakers got to make a move?
Say that one more time,
You
Joel.
don't think the Lakers got to make a move?
So I was gonna say to go on to your point, Joel. Excuse me. I don't know if we need another scorer. I like the idea of Reeves, LeBron, AD. What I do want more than I want anything else is a big. Get me a back.
Thank God he cut out.
Well,
He's cutting out.
Is it ridiculous? Because I'm a Dalton Connect guy. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a Dalton Connect guy.
He's back.
I really do dig Dalton Connect. But considering what the Heat did in terms of their homework, is it ridiculous that the Lakers could have moved up? I mean, Khalil Ware was picked 2 spots ahead of Dalton Connect. That might be your 5-man right there.
He's gonna be a future all-star.
That's your 5-man right there.
I really wanted.
That's
I
your
really
5-man
wanted.
right
Look,
there.
now we lost OG. I really wanted Khalil Ware on draft night. That's who my dream scenario was. I didn't think he would get to where we were at. Obviously, Miami ended up taking him 2 spots ahead of us. But I really, really want a big. That's why when we were talking about it earlier, and the idea of Miles Turner potentially coming to Los Angeles, that excites me. Again, we have a little bit more presence down low next to AD, and it's a guy that can.
Fellas, what is this Miles Turner shit about?
It's been for 5 straight years. It's been for 5 straight years.
I think right now,
put me on, Riv.
so what's happening right now is that there's extension talks between Miles Turner and Indiana. So now people think that he's going to get dealt.
Go get Rob Williams.
I don't think so.
Even though
I would love Rob Will.
Even I'm already on record saying that. Call up the Trailblazers and ask for Robbie Williams. They'll hand him over. They already got 4 or 5 men up there. They got 4 of them.
You have Rob Will, AD,
Denny, OG.
He would cost more than Robbie Williams.
I would. What's the how much more? Because I do it. You want Vando?
The Trailblazers are not taking Vando.
I don't think they want to do it.
They're not doing that.
So Drew, who are your team was the Lakers?
No, so I had Chicago. I think Chicago's an obvious team that needs to make a move. I thought we'd all talk about them. You need Levine gone. You need Vooch gone. And Lonzo Ball for the $20 million. I don't know. That might be steep to move off of if a team wants to take on that contract with his injury history. But I think you need to gut this roster and start over. This isn't going to do anything for you guys long term. And this is the best you're going to get their value at. This is the highest you're going to see Levine traded for. This is the highest you're going to see Vooch traded for. I think they need to make a move. But yeah, I do have obviously the Lakers because I try not to talk about them for a long time. 1, my connection is dog shit, and 2, the Lakers. I talk about them and it hurts me. But the reality is, I hated hearing Anthony Davis talk with Shams and say, "I think I'm better at the 4. I've been trying. I think we need another big. I'm better at the power forward." It kills me that now AD has to come out here to the media and talk this way and kind of talk negatively on the team, but really talk negatively about the front office because for seasons, for as long as we've been friends, OG, how long have we been saying, I need a backup big for Anthony Davis? If I don't have a backup big for Anthony Davis, I don't have anything else going for me on the secondary unit. We have nothing. Jackson Hayes, yuck. That is as bad as in the dumps as it gets. We need a backup big. We need a legit one at that. I really wanted Khalil Ware, OG. I swear I do. But with what I have at my disposal right now, I don't know if Miles Turner is likely, but try and get me any resemblance of a big.
Vooch, Miles Turner, Rob Will. How would you rank those 3?
All right. In reality, in terms of what's actually possible, I'm going to go Vooch 1. I'm going to go Rob Will 2, Miles Turner 3. If what I would love, best case, I think Miles Turner fits the best because he spaces and he's a rim protector.
I think it's Rob Williams 1, and I think it's the rest of those guys. And the reason why I think it's Rob Williams is off the strength that his deal, 2 years left on it, including this year's 2 years left at $25 million. Half this season is already over. With half this season already being over, what exactly is it that you need, Dell? You need a rim protector. You need a rebounder. You need a guy that's going to speed the game up. He is perfect for what you're doing. Now, I can appreciate the injury history, right? I can appreciate the injury history, but I think that he'll get you extra possessions. This is the dirty work guy that you don't.
You don't got to talk about Rob Will. I love that man.
Yeah, of course he was with the Celtics. He'll give you extra possessions. He'll give you defense. And he'll run the floor, and he's been relatively healthy this season. I think if you could get 20, 25 minutes a game out of him, I think he's perfect for what you got.
Question for the Lakers fans. So, Drew and OG, why can't Anthony Davis spearhead or backpack a defense? Because I've seen Draymond Green do it. I've seen Bam do it
and you've seen AD do it too.
Well, I'm talking about this year. Like I feel like this year he hasn't been at the same.
We finally got a perimeter defender in DFS, and Vando comes back. Now our defense really started to go, but then we take DFS out of the lineup, out of the starting lineup. AD gets hurt. You see what happens against Philadelphia. Now that DFS is here with Anthony Davis, our defense starting to trend in the right direction because we actually have a perimeter defender we can trust. With Vando, with DFS, I firmly believe we're going to see a much better Los Angeles Lakers defense, and Anthony Davis's name will be less shit on.
Okay.
Now, you guys haven't mentioned these teams, but the two teams that I think need to make a trade is OKC. I saw the way Golden State was defending them, and I think they desperately need a knockdown shooter. They need somebody that defenses can respect. They also need another creator. I think that's a story for another day, though. I think right now the realistic option is getting Cam Johnson. I think that would be perfect for them.
For sure.
They could get Cam Johnson. And then the Knicks, they need bench help. And I look at some realistic options. Duop Reith from the Blazers, who gives the Knicks more size. Duop Reith.
Who the fuck is that?
From the Blazers. 6'9".
I don't know who that is.
Okay. He's one of their backups.
I'm about to say here in Troy. I haven't watched much of Portland.
Okay.
I don't know that.
Corey Kispert, I think, is another realistic name. And then I think Jayshawn Tate is just rotting away with the Rockets because there's no minutes for him. I think if Jayshawn Tate, I think, would be a consistent part of the Knicks rotation, and I feel like he fits.
He makes like no money.
Tom Thibodeau's mindset and how he wants to play, and I think he's also a really good defender. So if we can have,
can the Knicks make a move like with their actual contract situations? Can they make any move?
They can't make any move for a contract like Cameron Johnson's, right? But Precious Achiuwa, I think, makes 12 to 14 million, so he can be packaged in one of those deals. And then we have other players that don't make that much money, like 5 million or less. So that's why the Jayshawn Tates and the Reiths of the world are the people that the Knicks have to target. Or if Bruce Brown gets bought out and he comes to the Knicks, I think that's also realistic.
Lonzo Ball.
But Joe, what's wrong with your rotation? Because I'm on record saying this. I mean, I don't think you got bad rotation players. I think I dig Miles. I think Miles is. I think he's an
Deuce is like that.
They just only got like 6 or 7 of them.
I actually think he's got more with Precious, with Miles. Campaign is not awful. I don't think Campaign is awful. I think
he's not awful. He's not awful.
I think he's a serviceable backup. And then this kid and this rook you got in Kolick can play, Joe. I know that he's a rook.
Loved him from Marquette.
The problem that we're having with Tibbs is you got this long of a string. When you get in the game, I need something, and I need something right now. And if I don't get it, you will be sitting right here for the rest of the night with me.
And that's how Tibbs is.
And that's what's all of his rotation guys. I think that if you get more rotation guys, it's going to be the same story.
I don't know, because last year,
the guys that he has.
Last year, the rotations weren't like this. They weren't playing that heavy of minutes. The starters, and I think it's because we just had more bench depth. I think this year he doesn't trust the players on our bench. I think the number one problem is that we have a lot of guards. Like, you're right, Deuce McBride and Kolek and Campaign are good players, and then I think especially when Mitchell Robinson is back, I think we have depth at center with Porty and then Mitchell Robinson. I don't think we have any wings. Like, I think that's the number one issue is that the Knicks have no wings off the bench, and that's why Jayshawn Tate makes sense to me. That's why Bruce Brown makes sense to me. Just somebody that can give you more size, because I think the bench is just extremely small.
Are the Knicks allowed to make who?
Lonzo Ball might get bought out.
Oh, that'd be lit.
I think he is.
Yeah, he's a Laker.
Play defense.
So, Riv, Duop Reith, he was a rookie last year with the Blazers. He averaged 9 points and shot 36% from three. Okay. He's 28 years old, though. He's older.
Okay. That's he's a rotation guy. Wait a minute, though, Riv. He's a rotation guy.
I heard the age. He said rookie. It caught me off guard.
This year, he's not playing much, though. But no, I think he's like a under the radar guy.
He's like 4 bigs over there, so I get it.
Yeah, no, I think OKC, though, watching how Golden State was guarding him, I think they really need a knockdown shooter. I think their role players are really good, but they're too one-dimensional. Like Lou Dort, you mentioned it, OG. No team is respecting Lou Dort from 3. They're going to let him shoot the entire series. Jalen Williams is now getting that type of treatment where they're leaving him open too. And then Alex Caruso is going to get the same type of treatment, like the Case and Wallace. Same
He'll
thing.
figure it out.
I feel like there's just a lot of players on OKC right now that teams are just like, we'll leave them open. Nothing, and then you're giving something up. Like if Isaiah Joe is in the lineup, you're giving up some defense when he's there. So I feel like it's a lot of give and take with their role players right now.
Yeah, I just, OKC is a strange team. They got a lot of athletes. They play really well defensively, and that's where they get their energy from. I feel like on the defensive side that uplifts their offense, but their offense in general, like it's not. I don't want to say like I think they can go to the finals. I think they can make an ECF, but this would be a offense where you really need everything to go your way because you don't have two like insane creators or nothing like that. You have SGA, and then everybody else is pretty much left wide open.
We'll see what Chet looks like when he comes back. If Chet's giving you some of the work that he was giving you before the injury, things change.
Yes,
I don't really hold a lot of stock in Chet off the strength that he's been out half the season. That's the reason why. I mean, like if we got him back, that'd be something different. But Riv, I mean, SGA, I can appreciate how you feel about their offense. SGA is so damn good.
No, he's
amazing.
So damn good.
He is
so good.
He can drop 50 like we saw last night, and they still lose. Like,
SGA is so damn good against.
That's because he got busy and they got out the way.
Yeah,
it wasn't like they got involved. They just got out the way.
Yeah, and that's going to do it for this episode of the Pick a Side podcast. We want to thank OG for pulling up. Man. What do you got to say, OG? Thank you for pulling up.
Man, you know what time it is with you guys. I mean, I always got time for you guys. We gotta get together more. I haven't seen you guys in a minute, and I know that we're busy, but I gotta start making some time for my fellas. I do. I gotta start making some time for my boys.
I hope that we can make it an annual tradition that come summertime you pull up. Like I hope that we can make that at least a once-a-year thing.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
All right, that sounds cool to me.
We got a new little setup. We got to get you a little.
We gotta get a chair.
We got to get another chair.
Got some elbow room.
Absolutely.
That's what's up. Feeling that.
You guys can follow us on Twitter at Pick a Side Pod and on Instagram and TikTok at Pick a Side Podcast. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.